Right. Thank you very much and warmly welcome all of you on behalf of CA Sri Lanka for the paper discussion of CL3, the CL3 risk governance and audit. So basically, students, this is few days before your final examination, which is going to be held on 27th June. So the next Saturday. So we are going to discuss this mock paper done by Sri Lanka, mock paper made by Sri Lanka before the examination. And this is going to be a very comprehensive discussion and going to be a bit of a lengthy discussion as well, because the purpose of today's discussion not only to discuss the mock paper. So given the very first examination under the new curriculum, I'm going to take up in detail of this particular paper along with the syllabus content while giving you a broad idea with regard to the syllabus content and also the certain areas, predicted areas for the examination. Therefore, I want your energy, I want your courage, I want your determination, I want your sacrification throughout the lesson, throughout this class till we finish this one. This will minimum go beyond 4 hours. So now it is about 7 o'clock. So I'm giving you the planning. So it will be definitely reached more than 10 o'clock. So you have to set your mindset that you are going to revisit the entire auditing subject syllabus along with me. So while adopting the fundamental principle of systematic learning and systematic teaching, right? So first of all, we must thank Sri Lanka for organizing this mock examination series on behalf of the students, and also the effort that they made behind in this process, especially given the very first examination under the new curriculum. Right, we don't have the past papers, we have the CL1 papers, but not compatible with the CL3. It is about 40 to 45% is compatible, but 55% is not compatible with the new examination expectation of CA Sri Lanka new curriculum. Given that very particular challenge, the CA Sri Lanka has took this initiative of conducting the mock examination paper by Education Division. So we must appreciate their effort in organizing this one and bringing resource personnel to discuss this particular paper on behalf of you before the examination. Right? Okay, students. So with that introduction, so let me start today's discussion. Basically, before I start, if I give you a bit of a overall idea about this mock paper. So we don't have the past papers. We have only the pilot paper issued by CA Sri Lanka for CL3. Basically, students, CL3 pilot paper would be the base paper for you all to have the final exam in the next week. That's what the prediction. So the pilot paper plus kind of a percentage would be the final paper given the very first examination by looking at the several examinations that were held. Syllabus changes that were held in previously, that has been the practice, especially the subject like auditing. Right. So therefore, whoever getting ready for the examination of this 27 need to be very careful about the pilot paper, structure of the pilot paper, and the model of the pilot paper, and the weightage of the pilot paper, and the style of the pilot paper. So that has to be the base for your examination, not the CL1 knowledge. If someone is coming from the previous syllabus, students, be careful, and your approach must be changed towards the new methodology that is expected by Sri Lanka, that has been reflected through the pilot paper. Pilot paper is a very, very much crucial, right? So given the pilot paper is standard is like this, and we have the mock paper, I should tell you the truth and then move for the paper discussion. Basically, students, now this mock paper done by CA Sri Lanka with great effort with a very short period of time. This particular paper, there are good questions and also there are some easy questions. So therefore, when I'm discussing the questions, I will tell one by one whether this question is easy, whether it is standard question, or whether it is a below standard question or above standard question. So I have a prediction what would be the final paper level, and based on that I can comment to the question by question. So there are good questions of this particular paper as well. There are questions from the less than the standard of the pilot paper as well. So it's a combination of paper, but still, students, this is good paper because you know why? There are no now for regulatory framework, corporate governance, we don't have questions. These all are new areas. So then we have to, it's a good paper for us to discuss. But again, I'm telling, don't expect this kind of a paper in the final paper, definitely above this. Otherwise, you will do this paper and will go for the exam with that, with the mindset of that, okay, this paper will come. No, this is advanced paper will come beyond this. But this can be a platform or a paper for you to practice the syllabus content, especially the new areas, right? I hope that you got my point, right? So other you will, okay, this paper I can manage. I'm okay with this particular paper. So then I can go for the examination and pass the exam. So if you are in that mindset, please change the mindset. This is a practice paper and especially with a different model of questions, right? So therefore, definitely your final paper will be above this and above the pilot paper. That's my prediction. I may go wrong sometime, but that's the experience that I have to tell you, being in the industry for several years and also being a lecturer for the auditing subject for some time. Right, with that overall comment, let us start the discussion. And also students, this discussion is open, and if you have any questions, you can always raise in the chat box. I will answer. And if you don't understand right, so if you don't understand any principle, I don't have in a hurry, right? You ask me in any questions in this particular syllabus, particular paper in the chat box, I will answer. Even I don't have ending time. I have not fixed ending time. So it may go beyond 12, it still doesn't matter because this is going to be a really value addition session for you all. I want to make it. Okay. So you can ask any question. And if you are watching this in a video, I mean, this particular lesson, if you are joining this lesson in a hurry, it won't work. So you have to have a peaceful, leisure mind with a very determined mind to stay with me for the next 4.5 hours. Okay. With that note of introduction, let us start the discussion now. Okay. Let me share the paper. Right, friends, I hope that you can see my screen. Right. So basically, this paper and I gave the overall idea. And before that, I'll give you a few of introduction, few of techniques that you want to apply. That some of the important point paper as whole. Now, when you are going for the exam on 27th, next Saturday, Saturday afternoon. So it's very much crucial for you to understand the auditing paper is a kind of a unpredictable paper, right? There can be question. The question will be definitely within the syllabus, okay? But there can be some different terminologies, right? In my example, students, you can go to goal from different roads. You can go to goal from highway. You can go to goal from the normal way, from air or from sea or wherever. So therefore, auditing, the end destination is same. There are different ways of going to for a one destination in auditing. The KPMG how carries out audit and how Creston carries out, both are going for the same destination, but different ways of doing. So therefore, your paper also will have a kind of different new terminologies coming in, different way of asking the question can be there. My fundamental request to you all is don't get scared for the paper just because of you look at a question, okay, I don't know this particular area. Because most of the time, student, the answer is available in the question itself. That confidence, that mindset, that determination should be there. If you don't know the answer, definitely answer is included in the question itself, right? Students, now when you get this particular paper, there are very important points that you need to be aware for a final paper. So in your paper, basically, there are two sections coming in, section A and section B. Section A is basically comprising of 5 10-mark question, and the question B comprising 325 marks question. So you have 5 questions from the section A and section B. You have 2 questions. Now the challenge, students, now how to approach this question and organize these questions, select the order of questions, and along with the time management. So therefore, if you like, you can follow the instruction that I'm telling now. So basically, students, in your overall paper, if you look at it, these 10-mark questions are easy, right? Question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. So basically, easy questions will coming in, not difficult, right? But question number section B is co-editing. Generally, if you look at the pilot paper, also in the same way, section B more focused toward the co-editing of large-scale case scenarios. So therefore, so you need to have a mix of selection of the question for the throughout the period. So my would say recommendation is you take up a easy question first to in order for you to get a enhance your confidence, right? So accordingly, the question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You read those required part, get the examination paper 15 minutes before you are getting this paper, and you read the required part as much as possible. Just don't read the question and waste the time. Just read the required part and just see the question is from your area, one of the area that is familiar to you, right? And accordingly, you decide what question, 2 questions I want you to take it up from this 10 mark in order to build your confidence, right? So that's a 10 marks mean, students. Maximum time devotion you can take. Let's say I'm taking the question number 3 as a first. Remember, you can devote only about 15 minutes. You have a 1 mark into the 1.8. But remember, you cannot take such a long time for the auditing paper. You have to finish at 1.5. So that means within 15 minutes, this 10 mark question should be finished. So what I recommend is, if you attending the examination in the physical environment, so you put the ending time this one. For example, 2 o'clock, if you start by 2:15, you have to finish this one. So you have put the ending time. Don't take any single minute beyond this. If you don't finish the question, what you want to do? You need to basically move to the next question. All right. That kind of a discipline, self-discipline is required for the paper. Students, now no point in just writing the one particular question in a very complete manner, because that's not the expectation of Sri Lanka. You have to you have to elaborate at least, right, 90 marks at the examination paper. Then only you can get 50. So rather writing a perfect answer for the question number 3, maximum you can go for a 10 marks. And also remember, students, these papers are being marked in a like group wise, question wise. One group will be marking only question number 3. What happens now? So then even though you have written the question number 3 in a proper way, you can get maximum 10 marks. If you have not written the question number 4, question number 4 is marked by a different team, no sympathy. So therefore, you have to manage the time, right? Okay, say my recommendation is take up the 2 questions and say 2:30 you are finishing this one immediately. You go for another now. Thereafter, immediately you go for one of the case scenario from the large case, right? It's very crucial. Not to take. Within the very first hour, also take up one question of 25 marks, right? So then maybe 37 minutes you can take it. Maybe 35 minutes. So 2:30 if I start question number 6, if I'm starting, so I have to finish by, right, 3:05. I have to finish it off. So you put the end in time and attend the questions. Likewise, a very important lamai, you are selection of question. Very important instruction is selection of questions, and the time management. Time management is so crucial. If you don't know something, you keep a space and go to the next question. But then last 15 to half an hour time, you will have additional spare time. If you manage the time properly, you come back and write the relevant area. Don't waste the time for unknown areas or unknown areas. And if you don't know, just skip and go. And that will ensure that the second one, students, that you are writing 90 plus marks in the paper. Remember, if you don't write the 90 plus mark, it is highly unlikely that you can pass the examination paper of CA. 90 marks is minimum required. So you need to attempt it. It may not be perfect. It may not be 100% perfect of your answer, but doesn't matter. But you need to attempt for the 90 marks. That's very much important, right? And also, students are very, very crucial that when you are writing, remember writing stories, right? No one interested in reading the stories in the auditing question. It has to be very clear-cut, point-form answers. No story written. The marks will be allocated based on the marking scheme. That marking scheme will be allocated the answers, answers for the question on a point form, right? So therefore, you are writing a descriptive answers. It is like point form answers, right? And point form answers are really required. Rather, writing stories, they are very crucial. And also, Students, the very important, I'll practice with you all that the understanding the required part. Sometimes some students are in a hurry of delivering the answer, but if you don't understand the, right, if you don't understand the required part, is going to be very tough for you all, because you will write something else. Examiner expects something else and you will write something else, right? So these are kind of overall instructions that I want to give you. In addition to that, also, if you don't know some theory, students, always remember that you believe in yourself, right? You believe in yourself that you can think and write. Thinking and writing is possible when it comes to auditing questions. So you need to, if you don't know something, you try to think and write, connecting to the scenario and something. That thinking and writing is very much important. And also the building of answers, 4 marks. You are not writing the answers to satisfy the examiner. You are not writing the answers to show to the examiner that you know the auditing. No, you are writing the answers for what is allocated number of marks. So you have to be very cunning. You have to be very careful. You have to be very strategic to the examination paper. These strategies must be adapted, right? Must be adapted. The last one, students, basically English. Don't worry about the English of this particular paper. I know that English is required, but I know that there are majority of students, sometimes they weak in English. Doesn't matter. I don't say you to, I mean, English is required to be a chartered accountant and work towards that. But of course, if you look at this particular paper is concerned, don't make it that as a barrier. What the examiner basically will look at the substance of the answer, technicality of the answer, whether you have touched the point or the technically point in the standard. And those are the very, very, very crucial points. Rather, you elaborate in a more beautiful English writing. Then those who can do the all good in writing in English and all that, English literature and all will become a chartered accountant because they know English. That is not the case. English is a communication tone. They are communication medium, but the knowledge, technicality of the knowledge is the crucial for to become a chartered accountant. But remember, so this particular paper is concerned. So if you are weak in English, I'm telling, don't get scared. If you are good in English, you write a good answers. That's all right. But weak, don't get scared for that one. Okay, right. So now let's start the discussion. So whenever you get the paper also, so you can write a statement and start. If you are writing the physical examination, the mental confidence, psychological level during the 3 hours are very important. It is challenging, and you have to have that the confidence before the exam. Okay, I'll write this. I'll challenge the CS Sri Lanka examiner, and I'll manage this. I'll do this one. That kind of mindset, courage is required. So therefore, you can put a statement like this: I will somehow do this paper. I will somehow do this paper. So when the paper is certain question, when you get the difficult part, sometimes you this particular positive thinking and the courage or the mindset will be required for you to move forward until the last minute, not to give up of any single mark. Sometimes if you give up that effort, you may fail the exam at 49. So therefore, until the last minute, you remember the story I'm telling. You remember the word that I have told. Until the last minute, the all corporate level CL3 students will not give up and write the until the last minute when you are invigilators or whoever they are in the examination hall. They come and collect the papers, but we are writing till the last minute. Sometimes last word that you have written, the material uncertainty, will give 1 mark, and that will be a reason for you to pass at the 50 marks. Right? So that's the positive and the mindset courage that you need to have. Okay, right? Okay, so instructions are clear. Let us the discussion now. Okay, let us start the discussion now. Any questions, students? Do you have any questions as far as the overall approach is concerned and overall anything is concerned of my instruction what I have given? So if anything, before we move to the paper, no. No. Okay, good. Basically, students, this is you are already aware. I'm not going to repeat the instructions and all this, but only one thing I must tell you are the open book materials. This examination will be conducted in the open book examination. This is the very first time Sri Lanka, the auditing subjects are on open book from 2020. Before that, it was open book. So open book, you know, there are 4 volumes of the auditing standard book, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. But at the time of printing, it has been divided into 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2, whether it is required or not. So the required percentage is less than 5%, 95%. These are not required because you don't have a time to look at those, refer to those standards and write answer the examination unless a very specific question is asked. So therefore, those who are waiting to rely on the open book and pass the exam, now itself decide, now itself figure out that that's not going to happen. Okay. So all together, it is about the, not the open book materials will not be useful, but unless a very extreme circumstances, that also you will be able to refer into sometime you can think and write, and you can think and write it. Okay. So, but that doesn't mean that if you have the open book, so you can take to the examination hall, you have to take, because otherwise you are not happy. So you have to be perfect, right? So you always want to be perfect in every aspect, and before you go for the exam, you don't want to take a risk at all. So you need to take a big bag and take all open book materials to the examination hall. That's all right. For your satisfaction, you take it. But the usage will be 5%. Since the 5% is there, if you are to fail at the 45, because of this 5%, you can sometimes pass the exam. So therefore, this we can't rule out the open book. But what I say is that now I'm not ruling out the open book, but what I'm recommending is that don't depend on the open book. Try to get my message. You can use the open book, but don't depend on the open book. Open book will not make you pass the exam. That is guaranteed. Right. So in addition to that, these books also, they are corporate governance and ethics. And also remember that this messages sometimes has not gone to the students properly. You are not allowed to write anything in the open book materials. Highlighting, sidelining, underlining are allowed. Short notes or any other notes written on the publications are not allowed. And also page tabs, refer to the pages are allowed. Page tabs can be used, but not to write anything in the standard book. If you have a book which is already written, so then you can't take to the examination hall. CA Sri Lanka is very tough on this time, and instructions have been given on the February 2nd itself, the 5 months before, so that we have to comply. Right. Okay, let us start. Right, this is a very, I would say, very easy, simple questions. Right. So from here onwards, if wherever required, I'll use both the language. For you, if you don't understand anything, I will use the Sinhala as well, wherever required. But the most of the time, I will conduct the classes 95% on English medium, because there are different medium students have joined. But if I want to re-explain in detail of a certain principles, I may explain. But in case if I am to explain in Sinhala to make understand majority well better, but definitely I will explain in English as well. Oh, I can avoid of English Sinhala completely and also go no problem, because you can understand I'm talking on very, very basic language. Right. Okay, students, basically required parts, and always what the approach? You are not reading the question. You are looking at the required part, taking the highlighter and highlighting the action verb. Evaluate. Action verb is so important. Evaluate. It is evaluate the process and expected outcome, conduct in the forensic audit in the context of Sunrise Manufacturing Limited suspected procurement food for 5 marks, and evaluate for 5 marks. The link between the action verb and the number of marks is very crucial, because number of marks will tell you that how far you should write the answer. Action verb will tell you what is the extent of the answer or the level of the answer that is expected by CA Sri Lanka. So therefore, action verb and the number of marks should be highlighted. Required part, you have to read 3 times, then only you will understand what the examiner wants. Evaluate the process and expected outcome of conducting the forensic audit in the context of Sunrise Manufacturing Limited suspected procurement fraud. Read in 3rd time. Evaluate the process and expected outcome of conducting a forensic audit in the context of Sunrise Manufacturing Limited suspected procurement fraud. Examiner is asking what? Examiner is asking the evaluate the process. One is process and expected outcome. There are 2 things. Evaluate the process and the expected outcome. There are two things. Did you notice? Right? Did you notice? What is this question? In our exam paper, it is not evaluated, it is examined. Right. So it is the evaluate the process and expected outcome. Process and expected outcome of conducting a forensic audit in the context of Sunrise Manufacturing Limited suspected procurement fraud. How beautiful question. Okay. Second one. How beautiful auditing. Explain how reporting of a forensic audit engagement. Explain how reporting of a forensic audit engagement should be carried out, highlighting the essential elements. Now these are not coming, right? Sometimes it's not getting highlighted to you. Essential elements that must be included in the report of the Sunrise Manufacturing Limited for 5 marks. Reading second time. Explain how reporting of a forensic audit engagement should be carried out, highlighting essential elements. Did you notice, Lamai? Have you seen this one? Essential elements. You would have written the elements. No, essential elements. You can't write everything. That must be included in the report of the Sunrise Manufacturing Limited. Very simple question, students. So this is from the forensic auditing under the internal auditing chapter. It is 10% of your syllabus. Examiner is asking what? Evaluate the process and outcome of the forensic audit. Forensic audit, what is the process? Process, very simple. Theory. Explain how the reporting, forensic audit reporting, forensic audit report, what it should be there. What main elements? If you know the theory, you can write. If you don't know the theory, sometimes it is difficult. Right, what examiner is asking, read the question. Sunrise Manufacturer Limited. Very crucial that you have to see what is the name of the company, private limited or a PLC, are very crucial information. Sunrise Manufacturing Private Limited, a medium-sized company in Sri Lanka, has recently noticed discrepancies in its procurement and the payment process. They have discrepancies in procurement and the payment process. Internal whistleblowers reported that the certain suppliers may have been issuing inflated invoices and payments were legally authorized without proper approval. Very common example of companies. The board suspect the collusion. Board suspect the collusion connecting by everyone has engaged in the fraud between the procurement staff and the external vendors. To address this concern, the company engaged a forensic audit team. The auditors are expected to investigate the procurement records, supplier contracts, and the cost payment authorization. Trace the flow of funds to determine whether the fraudulent transactions occurred. Collect the evidence that can withstand scrutiny in court. Prepare the report for management, regulators, and potential law enforcement. The board wants to clarify both the process and the outcome of forensic audit and the reporting requirement that follow such an engagement. Remember, students, a very first few questions are theory based. If you know the theory, you can write. If you don't know the theory, you cannot write. Okay. So accordingly, students, now first question is asking, evaluate the process of forensic audit. Evaluate the process of forensic audit in the context of Sunrise. Now you have to write the process. What? Write the process connecting to the case scenario. Write the process of the forensic audit. Write the process of forensic audit connecting to scenario. Very important. Right. Second one, explain how the reporting should be. What are the essential elements of the forensic audit report? Now, what do you mean by forensic? Forensic is like the media is talking Sri Lankan cricket. Forensic audit, recent NDB case, forensic auditors were appointed from Deloitte India. So likewise, so forensic audit is kind of a detailed investigation for what? Detailed investigation that works towards in taking up the legal action. The forensic audit is a detailed investigation that takes place or that goes through a legality processor, right? Process. Right. So there's a message that the screen is not seen. Is that correct? Screen is there, right? It may be individual problem. Students. I can see, right? No problem. So it may be individual problem. Right, students. Now this is a straightforward. Now what is this question? Forensic audit, what should be included? Now there are two type of students. One is that you know the theory, straightforward delivery. If you don't know the theory also, there is another method of delivery. Right. If you don't know the theory, what is that? Right. Right. If you don't know if you know the theory, if you go to the study text, you have learned this straightforward, right? Forensic audit. If you go to the internal audit, direct question. I'm not going to show the answers of the study text in a continuous manner, but one or two I'll go through, then you will see the confidence that the answers are there in the forensic. Forensic audits, last area in your syllabus. Forensic audit process and outcome, as it is there, examiner has taken the exact wording. Forensic audit process and outcome. Where is the process? This is a process. Define objectives and allocate resources, evidence gathering, execution analysis, and the outcome. Students, now one is that you remember this one and write it. Very basic, you would have learned under the introducing. But if you cannot remember even, you can do this one. How? Now, any audit to be conducted. It may be external, internal, procurement, forensic, right? IT audit, that audit, this audit coming from another world, Sri Lankan, USA, UK, another country, wherever audit has a continuous process. What is that? Planning, execution, and reporting, right? So then if you have written that three connecting to this scenario, even you will get the marks, right? So it's basically forensic. It's a detailed investigation, right? Detailed investigation. Now Sri Lankan cricket, NDB case in Sri Lanka, what's the detail? Now say in your organization, the way you are working, there's a fraud happen. What do? You invite the forensic auditors to come, like audit firm like us, we carry out this one. Forensic audit, detailed investigation. That way you go into the detail of every CCTV camera and everything you go in detail. So like those evidences, the forensic audit is taken at the court as an evidence. But normal internal or an external auditor students, that outcome of those audit cannot be used as a preserve evidence of the court system. Those are like sampling, judgmental, right? Reasonable assurance, not 100% scrutiny is done. So that won't work. Right. Process is this planning and scoping, evidence gathering, execution, outcome. But what the thing is, students, you have to connect into the case scenario, planning and scoping. Scope is what? Scope is that this particular procurement fraud. It's a scope. And then the evidence gathering, you want to go and look at the invoices, look at the payment, look at the bank accounts, evidence gathering, execution and analysis. You execute and analyze. Look at the data and compare and see data analytics can be done outcome and what is the findings over there. So this process must be adapted. A very easy question. And part B is telling what is the reporting element. That's also there in the study text as it is. What are the reporting elements? There are many reporting elements. So this diagram is there. So what reporting? Executive summary, background, objective, scope, methodology, detail, finding, conclusion, recommendation, appendix. But you can't write all these stages, students. You have to write what? Essential element. Essential element. Did you notice that? It is the essential element. Essential. Atyavashya. It's like mandatory. Essential elements. So then essential elements out of the look at, if you look at this one, scoping methodology, detailed finding, conclusion, recommendation. This will be the main four findings of the essential elements. Yes, background and objective is not that essential. The executive summary even not an essential, but these are very essential. These four will be the answers generally requested. right? Even any other things even can be taken up. The detailed supporting documents, supporting evidences for that. Right, that's the answer. Very, very quick 10 marks, bonus 10 marks for you all. If you know the theory, you can write. If you don't know the theory also, you can write. How? Forensic auditing or any audit to be planning, execution and the reporting. What are the things to be there? Definitely you have to have the finding, right? Recommendation should be there, finding should be there. That too, anyway you can write without remembering the theory. Okay? Right. Okay, I'll show you the answer. This answer script will be, the marking scheme will be uploaded by the Sri Lanka shortly, and this marking scheme done by the paper setter itself. I'm not the paper setter, right? For this particular paper, I did not set the paper. The paper setter has given this particular answer as well, but yesterday night I went through the answer and certain areas I adjusted certain things, and all these adjusted answers will be sent to you all shortly by Education Division. But the certain where you have alternative answers in auditing, there is no one fast rule that one question one answer. Where the alternative answers are there, all I will explain today during this particular live program. And if you have a better answer than this, you suggest me at the particular live class, this particular live session. I will tell you that whether we can consider or not, right? So basically, if you see the forensic audit process, nothing to explain too much, right? The forensic audit process begins with the planning and the scoping. This word must be there. If you have these two words, that you will get the marks. Now, if you have these two words and identify the suspected fraud, so if this is there, you will get the 1 mark. And auditors can collect the evidence such as invoices, evidence gathering, invoices, contract, bank record, and the conduct staff interviews using forensic techniques like ADA, using forensic techniques like data analytics students. That's one of the good example. Analyze transaction to detect the irregularities, quantity losses, and identifies responsible individuals. The expected outcome has a clear determination of whether fraud occurred, supported by legally defensible evidences. Expected outcome. And the auditor should also provide the recommendation, expected outcome. Examiner is asking two things. One thing is process. There are 4 stages. And expected outcome. Did you notice this one? Did you notice? So you have to write the process as well as the expected outcome separately. Expected outcome will be the audit should provide the recommendation. So basically, outcome will be, students, 2 things, right? 2 outcomes will coming in. One is the one is the evidence for legal case, and also internal recommendation. What the internal recommendation? So that means what kind of a thing should be done within the business organization to not to have this kind of a internal recommendation. So not to have this kind of issues within the company. So internal recommendation. Another one is evidence for a legal case. This is the outcome, right? What else? Forensic audit is carried out with the view that the particular investigation taking place in gathering the evidences for what students to gather the evidence to take this particular case at the court, right? So that is the fundamental view of the forensic auditing. You have some other thing, forensic investigation, forensic accounting, but finally forensic work is that the connecting with the legality, legal execution and the legal framework in any country, that is called forensic. Reporting, straightforward, scope and objectives, methodology used for the gather, analyze, findings, conclusion, recommendation. And there's a 0.5 mark allocated. The report should be written in a clear, factual manner suitable for presentation, management, regulators, and courts. It must avoid the speculation, focus on the evidence, and ensure the transparency. And that is how the marks will be allocated. This is how the marks will be allocated. Remember that it doesn't require of the auditing paper, the answers to be as it is with the examiner's answer script. So if it is your answer script to be given like examiner's answer script, it will not happen. But the core idea, content or the meaning should be there in your answer, then you will get the required or allocated number of marks, even 75% of the allocated number of marks. Right. We have done the question number 1. Do you have any question? Does a forensic audit like forensic investigation regarding crimes? Both same, right? Forensic audit can, what is investigation? Forensic audit also the forensic investigation, both are same. There's no difference over there. Any other question, students? I'll answer now itself. Ask any question that you have from the forensic. I'll give 2 minutes time. No problem. I'll answer out of the discussion even. No problem. All are perfect. Okay, good. Okay. Right. Forensic auditing single word is Vyavaharika Vigarane. Vyavaharika Vigarane, but don't learn in English, don't learn in Sinhala. Because why? There's no pointing. There's no Vyavaharika Vigarane in practice. Even at the parliament, those people don't know about anything on auditing. They are also talking about the forensic auditing. Even a one Madula district parliamentarian, maybe I'm not telling the name, but you maybe know, but he was talking about the forensic auditing. He never used the Vivaharika Vigarane. So then you are being a chartered accountant shortly, never use that Vivaharika Vigarane, use the forensic auditing. It's a fantastic word in our industry. Right. Students, now I can see that many have joined the live class. I'm going to give you a challenge now. Okay, let's see. Now almost 45 minutes gone. How many of you can wait till this live session is going to end? Right? How many of you can concentrate with me of this comprehensive knowledge sharing till the end? Take it up the challenge. In becoming chartered accountant, we have to take up the challenges, right? We have to be extraordinary. We have to be like, see, we have to be committed. We have to be like different, would say, we have to be exceptional in a way. Let's see how many of you can, how many of you are exceptional in listening into this knowledge sharing in a comprehensive manner. I'm also taking little time and explaining students because I know the pressure the students have. Because given the very first examination, you don't have the very much past papers. This particular paper, when education division, when they asked from me to conduct about 2 weeks ago, even before the mock exam paper, I wanted to take it properly, and I can do this paper without even looking at the paper. But yesterday night, about 4-5 hours, I devoted for this paper because I wanted to you all to give a proper outcome. Even each and every question I have written like you. I'll show you. The way I'm telling, I have written this highlighting and all these I have written yesterday night because I want to see the difficulties that you will face, and I want to take it up and actually in a very good intention that just to give you kind of a support for this last minute for the examination. Those who are doing in the being a very pressed. So therefore, this session today more than other the mock examinations. So I used to do the mock exam papers for CA and all that. But more than that, I prepared and came because I want to give you a right direction 8-9 days before the exam, right? So therefore, my request is to utilize that particular effort to wait till the session is going to be in, right? And let's see how many of you have a courage, determination, and the mindset of waiting till 11 o'clock. We'll see if you can bear, if you can wait, and that determination is that itself a signal that you are deserved to be a chartered accountant and go to the BMICHN very shortly. Right. Okay, so got the question number 2. Question number 2, I'll go this also very slow manner and I will explain it after question number 5. This is not the examination standard. Now, this is okay. This is examination standard for ZL3. This is not an examination standard. I must tell you. So therefore, don't expect this kind of easy questions. So, but still the point is correct, but don't I must tell you directly. So this is 20-30% lower than the standard. So therefore, you have to think about beyond this kind of questions for the 10-mark question, right? Okay. But there are very good questions in this paper. Right, so it's basically you are required to analyze section verb for a 5 marks. Analyze how Global Tech Limited is exposed to transaction, translation, and economic risk in relation to the foreign currency operations, providing practical example from the scenario. Question number 2, you have to read 3 times action verb highlighting. I'm not going to repeat. So you have to highlight the action verb, number of marks, and determine and what the examiner's expectation, and look at the required part, read the 3 times, all fundamental instructions, right? And the evaluate 4 responses available to Global Tech Limited for managing foreign currency risk. That's for a 5 marks, altogether 10 marks. Right. Okay. Read the question. Global Tech Limited is a Sri Lankan-based IT service company. Whether the company is a private limited or a PLC is going to be important, students. If it is a private limited and the PLC, the way we look at it as auditors, way we analyze as auditors are different. So therefore, whenever you read an examination question, the question from the private limited, question from the PLC, highlight and getting into the mind. And significant revenue from the overseas clients in USD, GBP, and Euro, UR. With increasing volatility in the foreign exchange market, the company faces transaction risk, translation risk, and economic risk. So already given the answers. They are telling sometimes the answers are in the question itself. And the economic risk means long-term competitive due to foreign currency explanation. The management consider the options to manage this risk. The examiner is asking, analyze how Global Tech is exposed to transaction, translation, right, and economic risk in relation to the foreign currency operation, providing practical example. That's not the that's a little lower than the level, because examiner has already given the answer right here. Foreign exchange market company faces transaction risk. What is the transaction risk? When you enter into the transaction of the foreign currency, payable, receivable, payment, receipts, you have a transaction risk, because why? You have the dollar rate 300 rupees today, but when you are making the payment after 3 months, your dollar rate is getting depreciated. That has a risk. Timing, transaction risk, today's risk, today's exchange rate, and at the time of settlement. This now, for example, say you import a raw material, so in Sri Lanka, so from the USA, you import a machine, and at let's say $1,000, and today exchange rate is 300, but you are going to make the payment, students, after 3-month period of time. Machines have arrived, machine Kavilla, you are going to make the payment after 3-month period of time. What happened? So after 3 months, your rate will be 310. If you pay this particular payment today, your cost will be, right, 300,000. After 3 months, if you are paying, it will be 300,000, 310,000. So the 10,000 have increased. It is what? It is the transaction risk. Because of the transaction way that it has been set, it has a risk involved. Fluctuation of the foreign currency exchange rate between a 2 different dates will have an impact to our profitability of the company. That is what we call as the transaction risk. Right. Translation risk. Translation risk is what? The basically translation risk in the sense that you have a subsidiary in the foreign operation. You have, let's say, Sri Lankan company has a subsidiary in UK. When you have a subsidiary in UK, the subsidiary has to get consolidated in Sri Lankan context. What happened? So you have in Sri Lankan company, you have a subsidiary in UK. When I am preparing the consolidated financial statement for a group financial statement, I have to add the figures of the UK subsidiary into Sri Lankan consolidated financial statement. When I'm trying to add, because these accounts are prepared based on the pounds, let's say, or USD, now I have to convert into the LKR. When I'm converting into the LKR 31st March 2025, and I use a one rate, and 31st March 2026, I'm using another rate, students. When I'm using 2 different rates in 2 different dates without the change in the asset, UK subsidiary ඒ සබ්සිඩියරියට ලන්ඩන් ටවුන් මත ඉඩමක් තියෙනවා. ඒ ඉඩමේ වටිනාකම ඩොලර් වලින් වෙනස් වෙලා නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒ ඉඩම ලංකාවට මම කොන්සොලිඩේට් කරනකොට ගිය අවුරුද්දේ තිබ්බ වටිනාකම නෙමෙයි ළමයි මේ අවුරුද්දේ එන්නේ. ඇයි දන්නවද? ලංකාවේ UK වෙලයි ඩොලර් රේට් එකේ දෙන ෆ්ලක්චුේෂන් එකකින් දා මම කොන්සොලිඩේට් කරනකොට මම ගන්න අලුත් රේට් එක. That is what we call as the translation risk. Translation risk, right? Last one, economic risk. Economic risk is what? Economic risk is now, for example, see now our Sri Lankan foreign exchange rate is getting appreciated. Like the previous president, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, he came in 2023 and he did something, and exchange rate was 380 rupees, and he came up and appreciated. It came into 300. What happened? When the rate is 380 rupees, $1 is 380 rupees, right? The people who are drinking our tea in USA, ඇමරිකාවේ දැන් අපේ තේ බොන කට්ටියට ඇත්තටම අපේ තේ ලාභයි. අයියේ. එයාලා අපේ තේ වලට කරන්නේ අඩු ඩොලර් ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි ගෙවන්නේ. But continuously, if I appreciate, if my foreign currency rate is appreciated, it came 300, 290, 270, 250, then what happened? They have to pay sometime, right? Our rupee is getting strength. That means their currency is depreciating with compared to our currency. They have to pay more dollar to purchase the tea Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan tea become more expensive in USA. They will not buy. Right? Because of the foreign currency movement, students, due to the foreign currency movements, that there is an impact. There is an impact coming into the prices of international market. දැන් හැම අපි විතරක් නම් USA වල ටී යවන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි අපි විතරක් නෙවෙයි අපි යවනකොට තායිලන්ත, ඉන්දුනීසියා, ඉන්දියා මේ ඔක්කොම යවනවනේ. ඒතර යාලගේ රේට් එක වෙනස් නොවෙනකොට අපේ රේට් එක වෙනස් වෙනකොට economically අපිට disadvantage එකක් එනවා. This is the macroeconomic, like economics theories in the world. So, but that is called economics risk because of what? Translation, economic risk, all are coming because of why? Because of the foreign currency risk, right? So now the examiner is asking students, that the global tech exposed to translation, transaction, and economic risk in relation to the foreign currency operation, providing practical example. This I give the example. Very simple question. Evaluate the 4 responses available for the global tech to manage the foreign currency risk. We learn, students, basically in the theoretical way, when you have the foreign currency risk coming on, this is foreign currency. Students, now I must tell you the first question from the internal audit, no open book. This doesn't have open book. Second question from where? Risk management chapter, that's a 10% of your syllabus, no open book. Right. So basically, foreign currency risk can be managed through what? That is what we learn as the hedging. Through the hedging instruments, especially foreign currency risk can be managed. What are the hedging techniques that we learn? We learn the forward contracts that can be done, and currency futures can be done, and then the options, put option, vanilla option can be done, right? Options can be done, and then money market hedging can be done, right? Or we can do a natural hedging techniques like netting, or maybe the leading and lagging, right? Natural hedging concepts are there. So these kind of things can be adopted as a hedging instrument to manage the foreign currency transaction risk. I'm not going to explain this instrument, students, now then it will become another 10-hour class. But this is the answer. You already learned that. So basically, the examiner has given, the paper setter has given these 3 marks. All right. So I saw somebody has asked this, is that sufficient? Please remember that marking scheme is a suggested solution giving the guidance. Okay, this is the content of the answer. You can, when you are writing, you can't write this exact point. Right. So you cannot, sometimes you cannot exactly write the scope, and so you will write little more, doesn't matter, but the idea must be there. That's what I told you. It is not the talent, it is not the show up. the quantity of the answer. Samahara exam ඉවරලා වෙලා කියනවා සර් මම ලිව්වා පොත් තුනක් විභාගේ ලකුණු දෙනකොට ලකුණු 35යි. පොත් තුනට ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැහැ. What matters is the point of the answer. Point of the content is required. And if you don't know, you can write so many stories. But if you know, you should write limit to the point. But I don't think this is sufficient. But you can elaborate if you want a little bit. That's okay. But this point must be there in your answer. Right? This is a point form answer. Right, transaction risk arises when receivables or payables are denominated in foreign currencies. For an example, payment from the USA client in USD may lose the value if Sri Lankan rupee appreciate before conversion. Translation risk arises when consolidating the financial statement and overseas subsidiaries exchange rate fluctuation can distort the reported profits and the assets value. Economic risk reflect the long-term impact on the currency movements on the competitiveness. The rupee strength against the USD, global tax reserves has become relatively more expensive. These are the three examples, and these are the contracts. So that's very important that not just writing the hedging technique, students, because the examiner is asking to evaluate. It's not that listing. Action verb is important. Not listing, not stating, not identifying. This is evaluating. So you are supposed to elaborate that what the foreign forward contract and how will serve the purpose of managing the foreign currency risk. Lack of exchange rate for a future transaction provide uncertainty but limited flexibility. Money market hedges involve the borrowings and investing in different currencies to offset the exposure useful for a short-term receivables. Futures and options allow standardized contracts on rights to buy, sell currencies at a rate. Futures and option both together has come. And internal hedging techniques like, let's say, netting off, offsetting intragroup receivables, netting, leading and lagging. Pramada karla givano, pramada itmana ganno. And the reduced exposure without external contracts. So all those are coming in. The choice, see, the evaluating, when evaluating at this particular statement, this choice depends on the nature of the exposure. Forward and the money market hedges suit predictable cash flows, while options and the internal methods provide flexibility against the uncertain and the long-term risk. Students, even though this is an easy question, if you don't know the theory, you will be 0 marks. Right. I'm moving to the question number 3. What are your questions? Any questions? What are the questions you have? Under chapter B, quality management part and the ESG part, can gain any support from the open book material. Quality management, yes, but ESG, no. Can we take swap as a hedging? Agreed upon procedure report. Swap is mostly using for our interest rate risk management. This is, we are talking about the foreign currency risk management, but there are different application, but these are the common application for the foreign currency. Swap also mostly used for the interest rate risk management. Right. Any questions further? Asking me to explain the futures. Right. You wait till the end. If you want, I will explain. And are we receiving the answers from the CS Sri Lanka mail? So that will be uploaded to the LMS by the CS Sri Lanka Education Division, probably. Right. So the question number 3, students, come back strongly. Concentration. Don't sleep. Right. So basically, question number 3 from the coming from the sorry. Question number 3 is coming from the very basic, again, the easy question from the ethics. Very basic ethics, beautiful ethics, fantastic ethics. Once you become a chartered accountant, you go to the BMICH and give an oath. You give an oath for the BMICH and you will comply with the code of ethics given for Sri Lanka members, and you as a chartered accountant, you will protect this profession. A fantastic day for you, and you are giving an oath for ethics, right? That ethics is tested at the corporate level. Right, so the easy question, students. This is also in my one. It is a lower level than the pilot paper. So that means this kind of questions are not expected. Definitely much advanced questions are expected. Analyze the 5 fundamental principles of Code of Ethics and illustrating their practical application and possible violation in the context of the Arsenic Holding PLC for a 5 marks. Sometimes students you will not notice that sometimes you will write the 5 fundamental principle, but the examiner is asking this particular 5 fundamental principle in view of the particular case scenario given here, right? So therefore, whenever you are writing the fundamental principle, your other side you are supposed to write the particular case specific information, case specific scenario. Analyze the key elements of Sri Lanka Code. Analyze the key elements of the Sri Lanka Code of Ethics applicable to external auditors performing non-audit services and explain the safeguard that can be applied to mitigate the threats to independence for a 5 marks. It's not a difficult question. Right, so the Arsenic Holding PLC, this is a PLC. Whether it is a private limited or whether it is a PLC is a very crucial information, students. Right, private limited or a PLC is a very crucial information for what? For a specific to ethics. Because ethics are very stringent for a PLC, while it is moderate for a private limited. So therefore, you need to have a good idea, but the examiner may not specifically mention that this is a public interest entity, PLC, but you need to figure out whether it's a PIE, public interest entity or not by reading the particular company name. Right. Arsenic Holding PLC is a diversified conglomerate listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange, has recently expanded into the overseas operation. The company's board has engaged external auditors to perform the statutory audit. During the engagement, several concerns were arisen. Senior manager is offered when you are auditor of a Pizza Hut. If they are giving pizza, can you take? When you are auditor of Watch Jewelers, if they are giving one pendant or one pound pendant, can you take? If you are auditor of Crispo Chicken, Baida Chicken, if they are giving a chicken, 1 kilogram of chicken, can you take? Right, those are example. If you are auditor of Cinnamon Life, if you are given a Cinnamon Life one buffet night, can you take it? All right. If you are auditor of Rainco Umbrella Company, if they are giving an umbrella, can you take? You have a multi-million questions to ask from yourself as a chartered accountant one day. Can you take? I am being a partner of an audit firm at the year end. I am getting hampers. Can we take 10 bottles, 5 bottles, 3 bottles? Can I take? Right. I am auditor of one of the leading liquor manufacturing company in Sri Lanka. If they are giving me a 10 liquor bottle, can I take? I am auditor of cement company. When my house is constructed, all right, they are giving a cement at the free of charge. Can I take? All right. I am auditor of NCG bus company. I'm auditor now. But අම්පාරේ යන්න ඕන උනාට බස් එකේ නිකන් ටිකට් එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. අර NCG නේද? ඔව් NCG බසස් තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ওই බස් එකේ ටිකට් එක මට නිකන් හම්බ වෙනවා මං ගන්නවා. ඉතින් බස් එක නිකන් යන්නේ ඒකනේ. නිකන් යන්නේ බස් එක යනවා. ඉතින් බස් එකේ ටිකට් එක මට නිකන් දෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔඩිටර්නේ. Can I take? There are multi questions to ask from yourself. Auditor also, this particular examiner also fantastic, and he has taken a senior manager is offered a Rolex watch. You know, right? It's a royal watch, a very branded watch by the client. Definitely paper setter may be interested with this kind of a watch by the client CFO during the audit. Senior audit manager is offered watched by client CFO. By the client CFO. Can you take, students? Watch එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද නේද? Can you take or not? Just answer. Can you take? Yeah. You can't take. No. If you are auditor of Pizza Hut, they are giving one pizza. Can you take or not? Pizza Hut එකේ තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම ඔයාලා ඔඩිට් උනොත් ගන්න නැද්ද? පීසා හට් එකේ ඔඩිට් එකට ගියාම දවල් කෑමට පීසා එකක් දෙනවා. දැන් කන්නේ නැද්ද? මං අහන්නේ ඇත්ත කතාව. මේ මං අහන්නේ ඔය තියරි එකක්. තියරි වැඩක් නැහැ. තියරි එකයි ඇප්ලයි එකයි දෙකක් වෙන්න බෑනේ. පීසා හට් එකේ ඔඩිට් එකට ගියාම පීසා එකක් දෙනවා ඔඩිට් ටීම් එකට දවල් කන්න. කනවද නැද්ද? I'm asking a very simple question. Value is $5,000. Okay, can take. Okay, we'll take 4,000 rupee pizza. Large pizza is given. You telling can 5,000, right? Okay. Okay. So you can take pizza. What is the price? 5,000. Generally, watch is what is the price? What is the price? Watch එකක් කීයද නම? රුපියල් 500 නම් watch තියෙනවා. රුපියල් 5000 කියලා හිතන්න. දැන් රුපියල් 5000 පීසා එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. රුපියල් 5000 watch එක ගන්න බෑ. මාර තීරියක් නේ. මාර තීරි තියෙන්නේ. If the value is all about materiality, oh, what is materiality? How to decide that? This is a good question, right? Now, in my common example, I will tell you another example. Insignificance and the normal cost of business. How to decide that? Pizza Hut is giving pizza. So you say pizza cannot be taken. You are going to audit of American water bottle company auditing. American water bottle company. America ගේන වතුර නෙවෙයි ලංකාවේ වතුර දාලා American නම දාලා තියෙන්නේ. American water bottle company. When you going to audit the American water bottle company, you keep that in your audit room. They come and keep a water bottle, American water. You can't drink that water. Even if you don't carry the water bottle, you can't drink. Why? As per your theory, you should not use that. Now, if you can't take the pizza, you can't take the water bottle also. 60 rupees. Is that correct? You are going to go for the audit of umbrella company, Rainco, Kadurata umbrella company. That was a rainy day. And you are way back, you don't have a way to come, and accountant is giving you umbrella. Okay, you take this umbrella. We are producing umbrella. No. I have the ethics. I'm a chartered accountant going to be. I can't take your products. Keep your umbrella with you. I will go by I will walk in the rain, no problem. That's the ane power. This is where the practicality is coming in auditing. Auditing is not another subject, students. That's what we practice in the audit firms. Now, I have been in the practicing for my life is auditing from 2010. So last 16 years, I'm in the audit firm and 9 years as a partner. So that is the problem that we face in the life. Sometime at the year end, I'm getting lot of hampers and things. And when I go sometime in the December, we are on leave. When you go to the January to office and full of things have come. Right. Now, okay, hampers are there, diaries are there, calendars that are those, of course, nowadays. That these several things come. Now, okay, I can't take the diary because it's my client. It's a violation of my independency. I wrote a letter to okay, thank you for giving me the gift. Okay, you take back my diary. Give them back. Now, students, we can't be here you need to understand code of ethics is not a rule. Code of ethics is not a law, right? It's always you have to see the objective of the particular arrangement that is being taking place. ඕනම සිද්ධියකදී අපි බලන්න ඕන ඒකේ අරමුණ මොකක්ද කියලා. Now the gift and hospitality is one of the crucial concepts under the code of ethics. Whether gift and hospitality can be taken or cannot be taken, it depends, right? We have to immediately see whether this accepting by this particular gift and hospitality, will that have an impact on my 5 fundamental principles? By getting this particular watch given by the CFO, why is given this particular watch, and will that have an impact on my 5 fundamental principle is going to be very crucial. Right? Can that be that's a very crucial point. Now code of ethics says, okay, you look at the object or an impact to the objectivity of your being a chartered accountant by accepting gift or by offering gift. තෑගි ගන්නවා වගේම තෑගි දෙන එකත් ඔය වගේ තමයි. Right? Then also the code of ethics says that in general terms, the gift and hospitality should not be undertaken unless it is inconsequential. Because it says, students, whatever you said and done, say you are auditor of the Toyota company and you are given a free of Toyota car and you are coming and justify, no, they are good intention is okay, that they want to appreciate my work and they are giving me a car. I can justify. And even though they have given me a car, my objectivity is not violated. I'm an independent chartered accountant. I can tell. But by giving or taking a car, my independence is compromised at all. That is where the code of ethics says, unless it is inconsequential, immaterial, you should not take that one. Right? And therefore, there is no hard and fast rule that you can take or you cannot take. Most of the time you cannot take, but if you are taking something, it has to be inconsequential, immaterial, or it's a normal course of business, or will not have a impact to your 5 fundamental principle, right? So therefore, by this is like, okay, watch company, if they are giving a watch, I would say, okay, but this is kind of a diversified conglomerate and it is given by CFO. It's obviously it is what kind of a threat is coming, students? It's basically self-interest, right? But the self-interest is going to be a problem. The audit team asked to provide additional non-audit services, including the preparation of tax computation, and assisting with internal control documentation. So it's basically non-audit services. Audit firms are providing 2 different services. Audit firms are doing under the sun everything, students. Audit firm Audit firms are doing basically 2 kind of services. One is audit service, other one called non-audit services. Audit means assurance services. Non-assurance service, audit, non-assurance service, we have basically audit and review. And we have several kind of non-assurance services, sustainability, internal audit, taxation, company secretarial services, right? Preparation of annual report, physical stock count, physical verification of property, plant and equipment. There are multiple assignments that the audit firms are doing. Now, if you are providing this non-audit services while you are carrying out the audit as well, it's a problem. Under this diagram, management prepare the finance statement and give it to the shareholders, and shareholders appointing a third-party independent person to come and check the finance statement. Management is supposed to do something, but management unable to do. So the audit firms are doing that particular task. What will happen? If the management is unable to prepare the tax computation, an audit firm is preparing the tax computation service, what happen? When this tax computation is included in the finance statement, being an auditor, one day I will come and check the finance statement. When I check the finance statement, include the tax computation, which is prepared by the audit firm itself. Tamam කරපු එක තමන්ම රිවිව් කරනවා audit firm එක කරපු එක audit firm එකම රිවිව් කරනවා ඒකට අපි කියනවා self review threat කියලා, right? So basically the second incident basically creating a self review threat. Concerns are raised about whether these services compromise audit independence and whether safeguards are in place. The situation requires auditors to apply the 5 fundamental principles of code of ethics and carefully consider the CA code provision for non-audit services. Right, the examiner is asking you to analyze 5 fundamental principles of code of ethics and illustrating their practical application and possible violation in the context of Oceanic Holding PLC. You have what? Integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Integrity, you have to be honest and straightforward, right? And objectivity, you have to be free from bias and free from conflict of interest, all right? And professional competence and due care, required skill and the knowledge should be there. Confidentiality, you cannot disclose the information that you gathered in the professional relationship in order to obtain undue advantage. Professional behavior, you should not bring your profession into the discredit. Right? These 5 fundamental, then the definitions should be explained here. Then in this answer, so 3 things should be there. Huh? Now you have to explain, first write the 5 fundamental principle. Then short description. Then connecting into the case scenario. Right? What is it? Objectivity, where it is compromised. Right? What is the objectivity? Where the objectivity is compromised. If you are to take this watched, objectivity is compromised. Of course. Right? And integrity. If you are doing the different type of services and integrity is compromised. Professional competence and due care. In order for you to prepare these non-audit services, you have to have that knowledge. Confidentiality. When you gather this information, you should not disclose this information. Right? Likewise, you can connect this all five into now, for example, you accepting the gift and all that. Your professional behavior is not good, right? If someone sees that okay, auditor has taken the watch, what they will define? අයියෝ chartered accountant ලා නම් කිසිම හරයක් නැති මිනිස්සු ethics නැති මිනිස්සු කියලානේ කියන්නේ. එහෙමනේ කියන්නේ. If you can remember some time ago when this Aragale came in the country, one of the chartered accountant was one of the superpower provision, the position in the country. I'm not going to tell the name. But at that time, the people were criticizing, right? Chartered accountants, what's happening? So therefore, you should not bring. You can okay, Vipula Bandara has my personal individual name. I can do anything, but chartered accountant Vipula Bandara cannot discredit the profession. Why? It is my profession. It is our profession that we should not discredit that profession. Right? This profession, I'm only one individual member of this profession. This profession is as a network service to the national interest of the country. We should not discredit that profession. That should not be a harm for the public trust. Mahajana Viswasita මුකුත් වෙන්න බෑ මේ profession එක ගැන. So therefore, professional behavior is becoming one of the crucial and the important aspects. I'm telling you seriously, you will become a chartered accountant definitely 27, 28. But these 5 fundamental principle, even when I lecture also, I should tell this 5 fundamental principle. It is not only by learning this 5 fundamental principle, but if you are a chartered accountant, you have to maintain it now itself. Right? Don't compromise integrity, don't compromise objectivity, don't compromise your fundamentals, don't sell those fundamental values of a chartered accountant at any cost, because you are dealing with the finance, you are dealing with money, you are dealing with the public interest, you are dealing with the money invested by some different people, and the general public trust on the chartered accountant, on the chartered accountant service. That you have to maintain. Sometimes individually you will be at a disadvantage. You need let's say 500 million money for operation, let's say in a family member. So, but you have an easy way of that. Okay, you can take out the money, do some fraud and take out the money. But at what cost? No, you can't do. You have to maintain what is basic that you learn. You are learning those basic in the auditing subject. That is where I'm always giving this fact of the code of ethics in a much broader, much deeper manner, not only for the passing the exam, but also remember that you are going to be a public asset one day. You are a public asset. So you are going to be a public asset. You have to maintain that. The fundamental framework that you can maintain this particular credibility is only through the code of ethics, right? So basically, this is the answer for the part A. Part B, very simple question, right? Part B examiner is asking to analyze the key elements of the Sri Lanka Code applicable to the ex-auditors performing the non-audit services. Key elements of Sri Lanka Code ethics applicable external auditors to perform in non-audit services, and explain the safeguard, right? Safeguard that can be applied to mitigate the threats. Key elements. But if you provide the non-audit services, basically your self-review threat is coming, advocacy threat also may come, or the familiarity threat also may come. But if you provide the non-audit service, obviously you can provide. What are the safeguard? Number one. What is the number one? Safeguard can be applied. Non-audit service, there are a safeguard. Just tell one by one. What kind of a safeguard you can apply? Chinese wall. Don't write Chinese wall. Huh? Now putting a Chinese wall, I know you are going to write an exam. You will not give the marks. All right. So it's a Chinese wall that is for only for like learning. But this is basically like having two different teams, right? Separating two different teams by the assurance and the non-assurance provided by different people, appointing an independent uh, person and obtaining the audit committee approval, pre-approval for the services that are provided. All right. So then, and also the most of the circumstances, students, if it is a PLC, right? If it is a PLC, remember, if it is a PLC, that most of the non-audit services cannot be provided. For example, preparation of accounts, and a lot of things cannot be provided. So therefore, if you cannot provide, the risk or the threat cannot be reduced to a acceptable level, you should decline one of the assignment, audit or a non-audit services. Right. So basically, what is the answer given? This is a very straightforward answer. Integrity auditors must be honest and straight. This must be there. Huh? In your answer, if this is there, I mean no problem. And the example then should be given accepting an expensive gift like Rolex watch from the CFO would volatile, violate the integrity. Objectivity auditors must avoid the bias or a conflict of interest, avoiding providing non-audit services while auditing could impair objectivity. Professional competence and due care auditors must maintain the knowledge and the skill applying the proper standard in both audit and advisory work demonstrate the competence. Confidentiality auditors must not disclose the client information without authority. The sharing internal control weakness outside the management would breach confidentiality. Professional behavior, the auditors must comply with the laws and avoid action discrediting the profession. මේ වචන නම් අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. මේක ලියවරත ලකුණු හම්බෙන්නේ. Accepting inducement or ignoring independence rule would be violation. Right? Independence key elements, because non-audit services having this kind of a threats coming in. And the safeguard, basically segregation of audit and non-audit teams, obtaining pre-approval for the audit committee, limiting scope and the non-audit services, clear disclosure of fee and transparency. In also called in PLC, auditors must assess whether the tax computation or internal control documentation creates self-review threats. If unavoidable safeguards such as independent review or a decline in the service should be applied. Basically, students, now say somebody can ask, is this sufficient? Yeah, it's sufficient, but exactly technical terminology is there. But when you are writing, you can't write it to this level, so you have to elaborate more when you are writing. But be careful, be careful. Don't be like write like a general terms like Chinese wall, two teams. ඉතුරු ටික exam එක ලියන්න එපා ළමයි. සමහර අය ලියන Chinese wall එච්චරයි. ලකුණු හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. You are such a careless students, then how you can give the marks? Two teams. ඉතුරු ටික කවුද ලියන්නේ? exam එක ලියන්න ඕනේ ඉතුරු ටික. Sometimes your carelessness or in a hurry, some students are having this mistake that you don't know that you have that mistake. Sometimes you think that you wrote two teams, but actually not perfect, not correct, not complete. You don't know you are wrong. So therefore, I'm telling you, since you don't know you are wrong on those writing students, you now learn that you are wrong. You have to write a complete paragraph, complete sentence. And you don't make arrogant examiners by looking at your answer. Sometimes without unknowingly it happen, no students. Sometimes in the officers also have seen some audit associate or some staff, even manager level, even at the top level people, they are very good people inside, very good people, and their heart is good and everything is good. But they reflect when they are going to work and talk very straightforward, very short, right? And sometimes because of that, the person who is listening to that person is always in trouble. Because why? He takes something else. So now you don't see the examiner who is marking the paper. You know two teams, you know the answer. But he thinks that you are a careless student. No, you have not written properly. No marks will be about it. So therefore, don't make the examiner arrogant, write properly. Right. Uh, Now, I can imagine some of the questions asked here itself. Now, some of the students are asking the question halfway. Then, like, I can imagine what you are writing at the exam also. At least when you are asking the question, you have to ask in a way that I can understand the question. Right now, for example, say, I should not mention it, not nice. But I can imagine. So you, when you're asking something, you ask it properly, then I also can, same thing at the exam. Sometimes in the examination also, the examiner may not understand what you are writing sometime if you are not serious in, that's not your mistake. That's not students you are doing intentionally. That's how you have practiced it. So it's not a mistake of you, but it is a kind of a thing happen in unknowingly. Being a lecturer, it is my duty to show you that. So if sometimes be alert on that, if you are that kind of a person, be correct that one in the examination perspective, right? Okay. So I'll answer your questions. What are not questions are there under the safeguard? Second point, can you explain? The second point, obtaining pre-approval from the audit committee in the sense that you know that now uh, audit firm, the audit committee of the company in this particular organization is concerned, or in PLC, this particular PLC has a audit committee, right? You know, right? Governance you learn. That audit committee is the one who is dealing with auditors of the company. So we should inform to the audit committee as an auditor, we have been appointed by the management to do the assurance work as well as the non-assurance work. Their audit committee is bit of a more concern about the independence of the auditor. So they will sometime will take some actions for that one. So if we have a approval of the audit committee, it's a kind of a safeguard. Even if something goes on, we can tell to the okay, audit committee approval was there. That's the second point. Inform to those charged with governance is a safeguard or not. So that is the same thing, right? Informing those charged with governance, and the second point is same. Those charged with governance is what? It is the audit committee. Right. What else? Any other questions? Inform those charged. Give example for a non-audit services. Anything. Preparation of taxation, payroll services, accounting services, secretarial services, right? And staff recruitment services. So there are so many intra-audit services, all are not non-audit services. Any other question? Replying, is it okay for the tax service provided by the another department in the same audit firm? That's okay. That's in a language that you can other person can understand what you are telling, no problem. But another department, but the two different people. Sometimes another department, but the same person does it a problem, right? Okay, I answered all your questions, right? Okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 4. Don't worry, I'll give you interval at the 2 hours time. Huh? So after question 5 is over, I'll give you interval. So then rest of the 3 questions can continue. Right, this is a good question. Coming into the sustainability reporting, a fantastic topic, and it's one of the favorite topic for me. And the sustainability, one of the core direction of the new syllabus. And sometimes the students, uh, if someone coming from the CL1 to CL3, this is a completely new area for you. Right, so basically, students, what the question is asking, a little expedite now since we have done the 3 questions. Discuss assurance services. Can auditors provide on Ecofoods PLC the ESG assurance services? And sustainability disclosures, and how do these services address the stakeholder expectation and the regulatory requirement? Stakeholder expectation and regulatory requirement for a 5 marks. Analyze 2 challenges. And analyze 2 challenges the auditors might encounter in assuring the Ecofoods PLC's sustainability disclosures. And 3 ethical safeguards should be applied to the maintain independence and credibility for a 5 marks, 10 marks students. If you are not studying the sustainability, you can't write this. මේක මේ වටේ පිටේ පොඩ්ඩක් බලලා ලියන්න බෑ මේකට sustainability assurance කියන පාඩම හොඳට ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්න ඕන. Right? It is there in your syllabus, sustainability assurance. It must be properly learned. If not, you can't do this one. If you have not done, please immediately study the sustainability assurance area in your syllabus before the examination. That is one of the alarming, red alarming I'm giving you. This will be the one of the testing area of the final paper. Right. So basically what examiner is asking, discuss the assurance services. Discuss the assurance services. Can auditors provide on EcoFood PLC ESG on sustainability assurance, and how do these services address the stakeholder expectation? All right. And regulatory requirements. So need to understand the examiner's questions, Lamai, because what the examiner wanted from you, discuss the assurance services can auditors provide. Assurance services. On Eco PLC's ESG, study it's for sure. So at least now, if you have not studied, you know by today, by another 8-9 days are there, please study the sustainability, not a lengthy area, short area. Right, very short area. So EcoFoods PLC's ESG and the sustainability disclosures, and how do these services address the stakeholder expectation and the regulatory requirement? A fantastic question. That's why I told you this paper has an easy question as well as this paper has a fantastic questions. Analyze 2 challenges the auditor might encounter in issuing the EcoFoods PLC sustainability disclosures, sustainability disclosures, and 3 ethical safeguards should be applied to the maintain the independence and credibility. Right. Sorry. Question number 4. EcoFoods PLC is a listed agribusiness in Sri Lanka, has recently expanded into the export market. To meet the investor and the regulatory expectation, the company has published its first integrated report, annual report with sustainability disclosures, with detailed ESG and sustainability disclosures. To report highlight a claim 25% reduction in carbon emission, but without clear disclosure, the disclosure of measurement and methodology. I'll tell in Single as well. Sustainability assurance නැතුව විභාගයට යන්න බෑ CL3 එකට. ඒක බලන්න විශේෂයෙන්ම. මේක මේ ලොකු අමාරු difficult area එකක් නෙවෙයි, ඕන කෙනෙක්ට තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්, හරි සරලයි. Right? Practically you have to think it. Right? It's a very important area for your exam. A claim 25% reduction in carbon emissions, but without clear disclosure of the measurement methodology. Community development spending figures that differ from the subsidiary records. Employee diversity statistics that appear inconsistent with HR data. If someone has not studied, this is going to be like Greek. Okay. Stakeholders, including the shareholders, regulators, and NGOs, are demanding independent assurance on these non-financial disclosures. The Colombo Stock Exchange has issued a guidance encouraging listed companies to adopt GRI standards. GRI. There are sustainability, you have already learned. There are 3 basically framework coming in the GRI, IR, integrated reporting, and also the IFRS is 1 and S2. Right? And this particular company does adopted the GRI Global Reporting Initiatives for sustainability reporting, while the Securities and Exchange Commission require the transparent disclosure of material ESG risk. The external auditors engaged by the EcoFoods PLC face challenges. ESG data is fragmented and partly qualitative. Subsidiaries use inconsistent reporting system. There are concerns about the greenwashing if claims are not properly validated. These are new words given in your new curriculum. Fantastic practical word. Actually, students, this new syllabus is superb. If you look at the 2025 December examination, 2026 January examination, those who face the exam learn the outdated auditing. Now only you are learning the real auditing, what is 26 in the level. Right? And certain advanced things are there in the syllabus. That's superb. And auditors must apply the ethical safeguard, maintain independence, and use the robust validation method to ensure credibility of the sustainability disclosures. It's basically now when you are looking at your annual report, so you have a non-financial information section as the financial information section. Financial information section basically has all these financial data what we learn. Non-financial information section has many things including sustainability related disclosures like water consumption, energy consumption, right? That the environmental, social, and the governance disclosures with regard to the impact that the company has made to the environment, the impact that the company has made to the let's say for a community, for a society, and also for the governance. For an example, I used to tell ළමයි දැන් හොරණ පැත්තේ ෆැක්ටරි එකක් දාගත්තොත් රබර් ෆැක්ටරි එකක් දාගත්තොත් මෙට්ට හදලා මෙට්‍රස් හදලා USA යවන්න ඒ කම්පැනි අයිතිකාරයා හැම වෙලාවෙම බලන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඒ හොරණ දාගත්ත ෆැක්ටරි ඒ රබර් මැනුෆැක්චරින් ෆැක්ටරි එකෙන් රබර් කිරි එකතු කරලා විසාවල පැත්තෙන් ගෙනල්ලා ඒක ප්‍රොසෙස් කරලා කෙමිකල් දාලා හදලා මෙට්‍රස් හදලා USA යවලා USA වලින් හම්බෙන අපිට හම්බෙන සේල් ප්‍රොසීඩ් එකෙන් අපේ කොස්ට් එක මයිනස් කරලා න ප්‍රොෆිට් එක තමයි ඒ ෂෙයා හෝල්ඩර් බලන්නේ නෑ. දැන් තත්ත්වය වෙනස්. එහෙම නෑ. තව එහා දේවල් බලන්න ඕනේ දැන්. ඒ ෆැක්ටරිය හදලා ඒ ෆැක්ටරිය හදනකොට ඒ මැනුෆැක්චරින් ප්‍රොසෙස් එක යනකොට එනකොට එන කන්ටැමිනේටඩ් වෝටර් ටික හරිද එන කන්ටැමිනේටඩ් වෝටර් ටික අපි හොරණ පැත්තේ ගඟකට නිකුත් කරනවා නම් ගඟකට දානවා නම් ඒ ගඟට දැම්මහම ඒ වතුර ටික ගිහිල්ලා අපේ එන්වයරන්මන්ට් එකේ තියෙන දැන් මාළු හරි මොන හරි ඉන්න සත්තු ටික මැරලා ඒකෙන් ඒ වතුර වලින් හදන අපි ඒවා නම් ඩ්‍රින්කින් වෝටර් හදනවා නම් ඒකෙන් මිනිසුන්ට ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් වෙලා ඒ එන්වයරන්මන්ටල් ඩැමේජ් එකක් අර බිස්නස් එකේ ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඇතුලේ නෑ ළමයි. ඒ ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඇතුලේ නැති නිසා ඒක අපිට කියනවා ඒකත් අපිට රිපෝට් කරන්න කියලා. අපි එනර්ජි ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි යූස් කරනකොට අපි උනන් තරම් එනර්ජි සේවිං කරන්න ඕනේ කම්පැනි. හැබැයි අපි එනර්ජි එක පාවිච්චි කරනදී අපිට වතුර මීටරේ යනවා එනර්ජි මීටරේ යනවා ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි මීටරේ යනවා. ඒ මීටර අපි එනර්ජි එක අපි පේ කරනවා ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි බෝඩ් එකට. හැබැයි ඒක නෙවෙයි ස්ටේක් හෝල්ඩර් එක්ස්පෙක්ටේෂන් එක දැන්. ඒ amount එක පේ කරපුවාම අපි ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි එක්ස්පෙන්සස් කියලා P&L එකට දානවා. හැබැයි ඒක නෙවෙයි දැන් එක්ස්පෙක්ටේෂන් එක ෂෙයා හෝල්ඩර් එක නෑ. අපි කොච්චර දුරට අපි එනර්ජි එක සේව් කරාද? ඒක තමයි අපිට ඕන. අපි මීරිගම් පැත්තේ ගාමන්ට් ෆැක්ටරියක් දාගන්නවා. ගාමන්ට් ෆැක්ටරියේ උපරිම ප්‍රොෆිට් කරන්න අපි අවුරුදු 18කට වඩා අඩු ළමයිනුත් පාවිච්චි කරනවා ගාමන්ට් ෆැක්ටරියට. ඒ ගාමන්ට් ෆැක්ටරියට පාවිච්චි කරපුවම අපේ කොස්ට් එක අඩු වෙලා අපේ ප්‍රොෆිට් එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒක හොඳයි. හැබැයි ඒක නෙවෙයි දැන් ස්ටේක් හෝල්ඩර්ස්ලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ප්‍රොෆිට් එක අඩු වෙනවා වගේම අර කොමියුනිටි එකේ අර චයිල්ඩ්ට වෙච්ච ඉම්පැක්ට් එකයි යාගේ ෆැමිලි එකට යාගේ ෆියුචර් එකට වෙච්ච ඉම්පැක්ට් එක කොස්ට් එක අපේ ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඇතුලේ නෑ ළමයි. ඒ ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඇතුළට අපිට ගේන්න වෙනවා අර චයිල්ඩ් ලේබර් යූස් කරපු නිසා ඉම්පැක්ට් එක. ඒව තමයි සෝෂල් ඉම්පැක්ට් ගේන්න ඕනේ කියලා කියන්නේ. මම ලිකර් විකුණන බිස්නස් එකක් කරනවා නම් ඒ ලිකර් කරන බිස්නස් එකේ මම ඕකේ මම ලිකර් හදලා මම විකුණනවා මම ප්‍රොෆිට් කරනවා මම ඩිවිඩන්ඩ් ගන්නවා ඔක්කොම හොඳයි. හැබැයි මම ඒ ෆයිනාන්ෂල් මැතුලේ නෑ ළමයි ඒ ලිකර් හදලා ඒ ලිකර් වලින් community වෙච්ච ඉම්පැක්ට් එක ඒකෙන් අපේ හෙල්ත් සිස්ටම් එකේ කොච්චර කොස්ට් එක ඉන්ක්‍රීස් වුණාද ඒ ලිකර් නිසා කොච්චර කමියුනිටි එකේ ෆැමිලි ප්‍රොබ්ලම් වුණාද ඒ ෆැමිලි ප්‍රොබ්ලම් නිසා කොච්චර ඩිවෝස් වුණාද ඒ ඩිවෝස් වලින් ඉම්පැක්ට් එක කොච්චර ළමයි ඉන්නවද ඒ ළමයිට වෙච්ච සිදුවීම් වලට කොච්චර වටිනාකමක් තියෙනවද ඒ මොකක්වත් ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් වල නෑ ළමයි අන්න ඕවා දැන් එම්බඩීඩ් කරන්න යන්නේ ෆිනාන්ස් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඇතුළට right that is where the direction of the sustainability reporting that is coming into Sri Lanka now. Right, so therefore you are being auditing students, you have to be very happy to learn all these things and apply in your examination when you come to your next level subject, the strategic level 3.1, 3.2. 3.1 advanced audit and the professional practice, 3.2 advanced risk management and the corporate governance. So these two are very beautiful subject. One other subject that you have to select it, right? So whatever the subject that you are whatever the subject you are going to do at the strategic level, these will be tested at a very advanced level, especially 3.1 if you select, this will be very advanced level and the fantastic knowledge components will be there. Right, so students, I hope that you got an idea about the sustainability. I just want to tell you a bit of a bit of a elaborative manner the sustainability and giving the due consideration that you have to be careful at the examination. Right, a very easy question. And discuss the sustainability assurance can auditors provide. මොනවාද ළමයි sustainability assurance මේකේ දෙන්න පුළුවන්? That's very simple. As far as the Sri Lankan context now, you have the standard what? Sri Lanka standard on assurance engagement 3000, and it's an assurance level that you can give a reasonable assurance and the limited assurance, and practical circumstances you are giving the limited assurance, but that is not prohibited of giving the provide in the reasonable assurance, that is the assurance services. Discuss the assurance service that can provide the COFIX PLC and the sustainable disclosures and how these services provide. Okay, now as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, now this is the standard applicable, but I have told you previously 15 December 2026 පාර ඊළඟ එක්සෑම් එකේදී ළමයි මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක නෙවෙයි තියෙන්නේ, ඒක එබලිෂ් වෙනවා. ඒක තියෙනවා හැබැයි ඒක applicable වෙන්නේ නැහැ sustainability වලට. We are getting right, we are getting what it call new standards from 15 December 2026. That is Sustainability Assurance Standard 5000 series. Sri Lanka Sustainability Standard and Assurance. Sri Lanka Sustainability Standard and Assurance 5000 is coming in. That you have to learn for the next syllabus, not the next examination. Right, so this is the idea, and then this is not required to write an exam, but just for your knowledge, we are being in the audit firm now. We are getting prepared to implement this standard in Sri Lanka. Right, so basically, how do these services address the stakeholder expectation? The May sustainability service api dunnahama audit firm එකෙන් කියන්න බයි මෙහෙමනේ මේකේ සරල කතාවක් නේ තියෙන්නේ. Now management is prepared, what management is prepared the annual report and give it to the shareholders. Right. Shareholders do not trust the management, so therefore shareholders appoint a third party chartered accountant to come and check this financial statement. In that case, this annual report has two things. One thing is a non-financial information and the financial information. Right now, auditors are giving opinion on what lamai? Auditors are giving opinion on the financial statement prepared by the management. But auditors can give now here what is required, not only the finance statement, but you can give assurance report on the non-financial information as well. When you give that non-financial information assurance, students, it enhances what? It enhances the credibility. It enhances the transparency. It enhances the comparability of the information that are presented. That's the stakeholder expectation. Stakeholders are only transparency, comparability, credibility. Assurance report, management, ESG report, credibility. It enhances the credibility. It enhances the transparency. It enhances the right. It enhances the credibility, transparency, and all that, and also comparability, and also avoid greenwashing. Greenwashing can sustainable report today overstate කරලා පෙන්නනවා. Water usage එක 110 and 120 අඩු කරලා පෙන්නනවා. Greenwashing, manipulating the ESG information is called as a greenwashing. Now these are the stakeholders' expectations, what the regulators' requirement as far as the Sri Lanka is context, as far as the Sri Lankan context, right? As far as the Sri Lankan context, regulatory requirements, okay, it's Colombo Stock Exchange, Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, and the CS Sri Lanka is been organized. So all these institutions have now made mandatory of applying the IFRS S1 and S2 Sri Lanka. Okay, when you give that assurance services, the automatic compliance coming in. That is what the stakeholders and the regulatory requirements. Right, and we'll look at the answer for this. I know this one, students. If you have learned, no problem, sustainability. If you have not learned, you can't write that question. That's guaranteed. So therefore, you studied 8 days are there. If you are not done, please study. Okay, the assurance services are the assurance services that is provided. So limited assurance can be provided. This is just elaboration is required. Make a madilamaya, make a application, so carbon emission, so this is okay. Stakeholder expectation, transparency, comparability, credibility. So you have to elaborate this. When these things are there, the sustainability assurance is giving a more advantage. Regulatory requirements, so the compliance with the GRI standard, CSS standard rules, outcome, and the trust. Right? Actually, this is not enough. This answer is not sufficient. Right? What is given answer is not enough. Elaborate it. You have to elaborate and say how it happens. Assurance service can make a stakeholder expectation make assurance report stakeholders regulatory requirement comply requirements so that idea must be written. This answer is not sufficient, but the content of the answer, quantum of the answer is correct. Right, the next one, it is says that the analyze the two challenges that the auditor might encounter. Analyze the two challenges the auditor might encounter in issuing the Eco Foods PLC sustainability disclosures, and three ethical safeguards should be applied. Right? The මොනවාද challenges මේක audit කරන්න ගියාම කියන්න බලන්න මොකද මේක දැන් audit කරන්න යන auditor මොනවද තියෙන challenges? Just tell one. Actually, student, this has been given already. You don't. I told you, right? If you are a conscious most of the time, sorry, most of the time answers are given. See, data is fragmented and partly qualitative, subsidiaries are inconsistent. These are the challenges. Actually, when you don't have to think and write. Given the answer, right? Then what are the ethical safeguard? Ethical safeguard mean now when these challenges are there, while you are being auditor providing both the service, audit and non-audit, what the ethical safeguard that you want? This is also theory, students, is there in the study text, right? So what kind of ethical safeguard can be applied? It is basically you have to have independency. Two teams. Tell me, make a දෙකක්නේ කරන audit එකක් කරනවා sustainability එකක් කරද්දී two teams එන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම. Two different teams, ethical safeguard. Chinese wall. You can't say Chinese wall, right? Two different teams. Two different teams, right? And also you have to apply the professional skepticism, and also you have to use expert because you are not expert in the ESG. You don't understand how the carbon emission is measured. වායුගෝලයේ තියෙන carbon dioxide එක මැනලා කියන්න කිව්වොත් පුළුවන් ද ළමයි අපි චාර්ට් account කරලා අපි දන්නේ නැහැ නේ CO2 කියන්නේ මොකද අර O level කරද්දී science වලට ඉගෙන ගත්ත අර table එක කරන්නේ එතනින් එහා අපි carbon dioxide ඉගෙන ගත්තේ නැහැ නේ අපි දන්නේ නැහැ නේ right greenhouse gas statement කොහොම අපි දන්නේ නැහැ නේ right කොච්චර water කොච්චර contaminated වෙලා කියලා බලන්න අපි දන්නවද ඒකට වෙනම expert එක degree ගත්තා ඉන්නවා so you need to have your ethical mechanism is what you need to have an expert being appointed there. Right, so those are the answers given by the examiner as well. Challenges are, it's basically there, right? This is the question. And maintain the auditor independence and objectivity through applying two different teams, apply skepticism, disclose top methodology, limitation, transparency, and you can use something like using an expert for the particular listing. Right, so we are coming to the question number 5. So after question number 5 is done, I'll give an interval for 10 minutes. All right. Till then, you have to hold on. Right. The question number 5 is basically it's coming from what? Coming from the corporate governance. One of the area in your syllabus. Corporate governance, not a difficult questions. If you know the theory, you can write. But this, of course, open book also can be utilized. Examine the composition and the responsibilities of the audit committee and the remuneration committee in the context of the Lanka Tech PLC. They critically evaluate the composition of these committees. Are lazy. Make a Alright, because these are very basic. Audit committee and the related party remuneration committee. Apply the key elements of the SLSQM1 applicable to the external auditors. Applicable to the external auditors of Lanka Tech PLC and how these elements ensure the audit quality, safeguard, and the public interest. So it's basically the question number 1 is very easy. Question number 2 also very easy. So 1 is asking what? Examine the composition and the responsibilities of the audit committees. You look at the composition. Evaluate these two. Composition and the responsibility. Right, what examiner is asking here, Lanka Tech PLC, this is a PLC students, a listed technology company in Sri Lanka has recently enhanced its operation and attracted significant investor interest. To strengthen governance, the board has established 2 subcommittees. Lanka Tech PLC is a listed technology company. So same thing repeated. May paragraph repeat. Back in the exam. ඒක දැක්කේ නැති දන්න එකක් කියවන් ගියත් දන්න. So audit committee, so basically we have audit committee, you have a remuneration committee. Audit committee composed of 3 independent non-executive directors, including 1 member with a professional accounting qualification. The committee is chaired by an independent director with prior audit experience. Issue. One of the members has close family ties with the company's CFO, raising concern about the independence and objectivity. Students, be careful about what examiner wants. Examine the composition and responsibilities. You are supposed to write 2 things. Did you understand? You have to write 2 things. One thing is composition, other one is responsibilities. You have to look at the composition and the responsibilities. When you look at the audit committee composition, what we have already learned, this committee should comprise minimum 3 non-executive directors, whom the majority should be independent. Right? And also it says the chairman should be chairman. Also it says one member need to have a recent financial reporting knowledge. Right? As far as the responsibilities are concerned, audit committee has a very, very clear responsibility. But they are very responsible for what? Their financial reporting, internal control, right? Very concerned about the financial reporting, internal control, and also dealing with auditors of the company, and also the compliance, right? So these kind of areas are basically their responsibilities. Now, in your answer, examiner is asking composition and the responsibility. Just simply see these 2 theory, whether is there any contradiction? What is that? Compose 3 independent non-executive directors. 3 independent non-executive directors, no problem. That is all right. Including 1 member with a professional accounting qualification. Professional accounting qualification. The committee is chaired by independent director. That is also correct. With prior audit experience. That should be other way around. Right? Who need to have the audit committee? Right? Audit committee chairman should be a member of the professional accountancy body. So therefore, it should be other way around. Now, he should be a member of professional accountancy body. Another member should have the prior experience. So that's a composition issue coming in there. Composition එකේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න තමයි chairmanට membership එක නැහැ. accountancy body එකේ membership එක තියෙනවා. chartered accountant හරි, SIMA accountant හරි, ACC accountant හරි තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් level area මොකද තියෙන්නේ? It's not there. That's a one issue, right? And one of the members has close family ties with the company's CFO, raising concern about the independence. So he's not, one director is not an independent director. He has a concern about the independence. So now composition, these 2 problems you need to read. As far as the tasks are concerned, that the 4 tasks that is required, what I mentioned, should be elaborated. If you go to the answer, audit committee, and it says the 3 independent non-executive directors chaired by an experienced independent director with one member holding accounting qualification. Responsibility include overseas financial reporting. Our responsibilities include overseeing the financial reporting, monitoring internal control, liaising with auditors, and the ensuring compliance. Answer correct, right? Because here the examiner, I told to the paper setter in the today, so he will correct this answer and will upload to you all. Because here he has not highlighted as an answer the chairman of the committee. Sorry. Chairman of the committee should be a member of the professional accountancy body. It's the latest requirement. It is not there, it is an issue. So that is one of the issue need to be highlighted here. That has not included here. So examiner will include this one and share with you the answer script probably shortly. And the issue, now the second issue here he has taken, one member has close family ties with the CFO, which compromise the independent objectivity. This creates threat to the governance integrity, as decision may be biased or influence best practice, require members to be independent for the management or impartial or oversight. So that means, so you need to elaborate the issue. There are 2 issues here, students. One is chairman issue, other one is independent issue. These two issues plus responsibilities should be explained. And when it comes to the remuneration committee, it says, but compose two independent non-executive directors, one executive directors cannot come. Executive committee students, sorry, remuneration committee, can that be executive directors? Can you have executive directors in the remuneration committee? Can't, you can't. So one committee is chaired by a non-executive director. That's committee is chaired by no committee chairman should be a independent non-executive director. Its responsibilities include setting executive remuneration policies, reviewing incentive scheme, and ensuring that's okay. Now here two issues are there. One issue is that has executive directors at its role. Second one, chairman, it should be an independent non-executive director. It is not there. So there are two issues. Objectives are concerned. That's all right. See, remuneration committee, the two independent non-executive directors and one executive director chaired by a non-executive director. So, but the new rules issues that the state that this committee shall comprise non-executive directors. Therefore, one director being executive does not adhere the specified composition in the applicable application rule. Responsibilities include the setting remuneration policies. That's okay, all right. Governance role. Both committees enhance the accountability, but independent issues in the audit committee must be addressed, right? That has to be there. Right, so that's the answer is okay. It's coming to the second paragraph. The external auditors of Lankatech PLC is A&A Associate. In the initial meeting with the audit committees in its planning documents, the auditors stated that they have taken several approaches for the firm to comply with the Sri Lanka standards in quality management, which require the firm to design and implement a system of quality management covering governance, ethics, risk management, engagement, performance, and monitoring. The board wants assurance that both committees are functioning. Question is explain the key element of SLSQM. Very easy. What are those? How many elements are there? How many elements are there in the ethics, the SLSQM1? Here, 8. Yeah. I wrote 10 to see whether you know the 10. So that should be, you don't have that, of course, you can refer to the open book and write. This can be used open book. Even these students, if you have a doubt, you can use the open book. Even if you want to make, if you have a doubt about audit committee composition, if you have a doubt, if you can remember the place, you can look at the corporate governance book and write. Even this also, you can straightforward looking at the open book of SLSQM1. It's there in the volume 2. What is that? Firm risk assessment process, governance and culture. Right? Can you remember? Right? That point, of course, must remember with you because quality management is one of the, would say, growing area, sustainability, the quality management, the latest standard of SLSQM 1 and 2 was introduced in Sri Lanka by December 25. So it was now 1 year only matured. So therefore still these are new. So what are those 8? Firm risk assessment process, governance and culture, firm ethical requirements, acceptance and continuous, performance, resources, right? Monitoring, remediation action, communication, right? Risk assessment process, governance, leadership, ethical requirement, acceptance and continuous, engagement, performance, resources, information technology, and monitoring and remediation. So you need to have a kind of elaboration given here, right? So you have to elaborate it. The examiner is giving you 5 marks mean. Sorry, students. Right? So examiner is given 5 marks mean. So you have to elaborate the meaning of each element. Right. So students, basically we have done the that this para also important. Na? because it says that these elements ensure the audit firm deliver reliable, high quality audit, safeguard public interest, and maintain the trust in the financial reporting. The examiner is asking basically how these elements ensure the audit quality and the safeguard public interest. Because audit firms are applying the quality mean that the outcome given is high quality, public trust, public interest is going up. That answer is required. Right. Exactly what is the time now? 9:10. What I told you, I'll take about 2 hours to initially 2 hours to do these 5 questions, and we'll give a short break. So exact one time. We started at the 7:10, now 9:10, 2 hours gone. So 5 questions are done. Rest of the 3 questions are very lengthy questions, so we'll take another 2 hours or minimum 1.5 hours. Right, we'll take a 10 minutes break, students. Don't go because if I mean now I have some technology auditing good question number 6. So that's a very good question for you all to discuss. That let's see the next 2 hours time. So we'll take a 10 minutes break. Thank you. Questions will start back. So somehow gone it seems. Okay. Right. So we'll continue. So for another maybe 1.5 hours, more than that it will go, but we will do it properly. No, without any hurry because this area is now 2 plus 2 hours discussion. We would have got a bit of good insight. So with regard to uh, how these particular areas, especially the new areas, are coming in the exam of a background information and all that. So I could have just done the question, but I wanted to go a little beyond that. So you could have got that some insight over there. So let us go to the question number 6, 7, and 8 as well. I mean, good questions. So first of all, I'll go to the co-editing question of question number. Oh, we can go on order as well, no problem. Screen is not visible. Yeah, okay. Let me share. Right, so I hope that is visible now. The so basically, so we'll coming into the question number 6, right? And question number 6 from the technology auditing, auditing in information technology, another fantastic area. Question number 7 from the co-auditing of fundamental. Yeah. Question number 7 from the co-auditing of risk assessment and the audit procedures. And question number 7 from again from the other areas of external auditing. So let me go in order. So question number 6, the all three questions are below the average of your standard pilot paper. So that means when it comes to final exam students, there will be a bit of an advanced question coming. Because don't expect this level and go for the exam, but this level is for you all to practice these questions. So definitely your final examination level is much higher than this. Okay, so that I must tell you to make you clear, otherwise you will think that this part kind of a paper will come and then you will go for the exam, you will see a wonder problem. But this question is good to practice to see a different thinking and different way of asking the question, right? So that's the objective. Right, basically, students, so in this particular question, question number 6, the question is good. That is from the information technology audit, especially if you are coming from the CL1 to CL3, but be aware that these were not there in the previous syllabus. These are new areas in the syllabus, how information technology is used at the audit planning stage of audit ADA, audit data analytics, and then how digital transformation of the substantive procedures, the part B of your syllabus, sorry, part C of your syllabus, and how digital tools are used under sustainability assurance, right? These are the three areas where the technology aspect is coming in. At any given time, the examiner can test these areas, right? Okay, so therefore, basically, this a question is good, but required part I'm not happy. I mean, this required parts are not properly organized. So this is not properly done. But because if you look at the paper structure, there will be more detailed question will be asking. These are like open questions like strategic level 3.1. So this kind of a 10-mark question which is difficult for you all to write at the corporate level. ලකුණු 10කට ළමයි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඕගනයිස් කරගන්න වලට අමාරුයි. එහෙම අහනවා ස්ට්‍රැටජික් ලෙවල් එකේදී අපි දැන් අපේ බියුටිෆුල් සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක තියෙන 3.1 ඒක ගත්තොත් ඒකේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න ඔඩිට් මේ වගේ ලකුණු 10 ප්‍රශ්න තමයි අහන්නේ. That you can write at the strategic level, but corporate level 10-mark question difficult to write it. So therefore, I don't think that your final examination there will be 10-mark questions. I do not expect. All right. So therefore, but this question good to practice, but this required part, don't worry too much on that. We'll try to get the meaning of the question than the type of the question, right? But examiner is asking, so I'll expedite now. So the examiner is asking what? Assess the method for gathering and evaluating audit evidence for the testing of control and the substantive audit procedures. Have you noticed this one? Gathering of audit evidence and the evaluating of audit evidence. There are two things. So two things. And testing of controls and the performing substantive audit procedures. So basically gathering of and evaluating of audit evidence for testing of controls and the substantive audit procedures for what? It is for 10 marks. Right. Okay. The second one examiner is asking, outline the impacts of the digital transformation. Outline the impacts of digital transformation on substantive procedures, including the use of audit software and the remote audit techniques. Okay. Explain the integration of digital tools in assurance processes, including AI for data valuation. Again, I'm telling students information technology aspect in your audit, in your the syllabus, it is included in the 3 areas, right? One is audit data analytics in audit planning. Second one, digital transformation in substantive procedures. Third one, digital tools in assurance services. So these 3 are 3 different places, but it always in systematic learning, sometime when you are learning, better to learn all 3 together. It gives you a much broader understanding after learning the auditing flow. Right. So basically the first one is directly from, not from the digital auditing, but it is more towards like the ISA 500, SLOs 500 from the audit evidence gathering area, right? Okay, well, let's look at the examination scenario and we'll come to the question. What the examination scenario? Ocean Vista Food and Retail PLC. It is a PLC. PLC is a listed Sri Lankan company engaged in the fish processing for export, packed food for both export and local market and supermarket chains. It's a kind of a business engaged in the fish processing for export, packaged foods for both export and local market, fish processing, Tinman. For the year end of 31st March 2026, for the year end of 31st March 2026, the company has undergone a digital transformation initiative that has significantly altered the control environment. Digital transformation has been taken place for the company, not for the auditor. ERP rollout. A cloud-based ERP integrates procurement, production, inventory, and sales. Staff training is incomplete and manual override are frequent. Some divisions still run parallel manual record. ERP has been implemented for many areas of the business, but staff training is incomplete and the manual override still there. Like a system migration has not properly taken place. They are working with both the system yet. Digital audit trail. The transactions are logged electronically, but inconsistencies exist between the physical stock counts and the ERP records, obviously. But in one cold storage warehouse, spoilage losses were not updated in the system. Looks like, students, it's a problem. Even though there are information technology adapted, their right seems problem. Then it is a remote operations. Overseas buyers and suppliers now interact through online platforms. Much audit evidence is shared digitally with limited physical verification. Exactly what is happening now. Audit software. The external auditor has introduced the analytics tools to test entire population of transaction, identify anomalies, and perform automated reconciliations. Audit software group dealer. AI integration. Management has piloted AI-driven validation of supply invoices and customer orders. However, auditors are uncertain about their reliability as the AI flagged legitimate invoices as suspicious. All right. Then the control environment. The controls are formally documented, but operational lapses remain. Approval bypass under the urgent circumstances, reconciliation delayed, IT logs not consistently reviewed. Cybersecurity incident, ransomware, you can remember, right? It's there in your study text. Attack temporarily locked supermarket POS system, POS system. Backup recovery was partial. Some sales data may have been lost. The audit team must evaluate how to gather and assess the evidence in this transformed environment, balancing test of details and the test of control while adapting the digital tools and the remote techniques. Lamai, let me take a 5 minutes, all right, tell you. Now, if you look at the business organization, students, say, for example, this Awesome Vista PLC, this particular PLC company, right? They are working with the ERP system. Everything is automated now. When we were doing our advanced level, we learned a lot of documentation of GRN, GDN, that invoice, this invoice, approval, right? We were nicely learning at their level. But when you are going to work as a chartered accountant, nothing will be there, Lamai. Everything has been automated through the ERP system. Even a small boutique center in Kottava Junction even has a now ERP system. Even if you go for a communication, now it's a ERP system. You can't say ERP, but some system is there. Everything has become automated now. The businesses also, everything is automated. Now, this ERP system, enterprise resource planning systems of and all that, everything business organization, what they do, and everything is automated. All finance function that we are taking, payment, receipt, inventory management, PP, payroll, everything is automated. So then you are working in an automated environment in the business organization when you work as a chartered accountant one day. In this automated environment, basically they have ERP system and need to have the system controls, not the manual control, and somebody is watching through the CCTV, not that they put in the manual signature, not like putting the fingerprint machines. So there are some digitalized method in controlling the business transaction and achieving the same objective. So therefore, your mindset also need to be changed that, right, with the new curriculum that you are working in the environment, in the fully automated environment. Now, coming back this information technology driven environment, the auditor is coming into the scene, let's say KPMG. Let's say KPMG has coming into the scene, Lamai. Now, KPMG, when you are going to work with automated environment, KPMG itself has to be automated. KPMG audit කරන්න ඇති automate company KPMG audit automate වෙන්න එපා. So the KPMG itself has to be automated. If you are not automated, if you don't adopt the information technology based instrument, students, what will happen? If you don't adopt the technology based instrument, this kind of a complicated IT environment cannot be audited. Impossible to carry out audit. It is impossible. Since it is impossible to carry out this complicated IT environment audit, the audit firms will have to adapt what new methods in auditing, new methods of auditing, right? That is what we call my digital transformation on external auditing. External auditors have now undergoing a rigorous digital transformation process. Why? The environment that we are going to carry out the audit are already digitally transformed. Not that the way you are auditing a small boutique center in a small place. If you are going for a multinational company of auditing, it is a complicated technology-based environment. If you are auditor of a good city, if you are auditor of Kapruga, if you are auditor of John Kills, if you are auditor of Google, if you are auditor of Facebook, if you are auditor of Amazon.com, so these multinational companies auditing everything is technology. Even if you are auditor of Uber, you don't have office even in Sri Lanka. Say like that. So then how are we going to audit this digitalized environment? The audit firms will have to go for a digitalized, rigorous process now. This is where this your subject including the something called information technology aspect in the external auditing, right? That is the one it has been tested in this particular question. That question has some issues. That's a different story. But this particular question is good because it has brought the new principle what is required on both then. ළමයි මේ ටෙක්නොලොජි කියන එක මෙතනින් විතරක් කතා කරන්නත් බෑ මෙතනින් විතරක් කතා කරන්නත් බෑ මේක combine effort එකක්. Okay, clear? Right. But keep it a one fundamental, students. That doesn't mean that the technology can do the audit. Information technology cannot do the audit. Information technology can assist you in carrying out the audit. That is what we learn as a CAAT, right? Computer assisted audit techniques. computers can't do the audit, then we won't have jobs, right? I have to resign and go. I can't be audit firm partner. Computer can do the audit. Not possible. Right. Now, but remember, auditing process, SLA US are discussing a 37 auditing standards. That principle no change. Right. ළමයි අපි ගාල්ල යනවා. ගාල්ල යන ගමන වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ගාල්ලෙම තමයි යන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි ගාල්ල යන විදිය දැන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඉස්සර අපි දෙහි වලින් බස්ස කරන ගල ගාල්ලෙන් බැස්සනම් දැන් අපි මාකුඹුරෙන් නගලා ගාල්ලෙන් බහිනවා විනාඩි පැයකින්. ඉස්සර පැය 3ක් මාර්ගාංක දෙකේ ගියා නම් දැන් දෙකනේ යා 2. දැන් අපි මාකුඹුරෙන් නගලා හයිවේ නම්බර් 1 එකේ ගිහිල්ලා පැයෙන් බහිනවා. හැබැයි අපි යන බස් එක වෙනස් වුණාට කාලය අඩු වුණාට අපේ ගමනාන්තය වෙනස් වුන්නේ නැහැ. Even though the way we are doing it has changed, way we are doing change, in destination that we are trying to achieve has no change. So therefore, fundamental auditing standard 37 flow that we learn has no change. It remains same. What happened? Earlier it mentioned that you called, good example I'll tell you. Earlier we said students, you called a confirmation from the bank. අපි ඉස්සර කො බැංකුවෙන් confirmation එකක් call කරන්න කියලා. ඒක තියෙන්නේ කොහෙද ළමයි? SLAS 505 standard එකේ තියෙන්නේ. 505 තියෙන්නේ confirmation call කරන්න කියලා bank balance එකට. ඒක වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවද? ඒක වෙනස් වෙලා නැහැ. මොකක්ද වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ නේද? ඒක කරන විදිය වෙනස් වෙලා. කොහමද? ඉස්සර බැංකුවට ලියුමක් කියවලා තපාලෙන් රෙජිස්ටර් තපාලෙන් ඔය බැංකුව රෙජිස්ටර් තපාලෙන් අපිට ලියුමක් කියවනවා. සති 3-4කින් ගිහිල්ලා confirmation එක audit firm එකට. දැන් ඒව නැහැ. අපි digital request digital platforms තියෙනවා ළමයි confirmation.com වගේ ඒවා. අපි ඒව through request එකක් දුන්නාම ඒ කට්ටිය centrally බැංකුවත් එක්ක contact කරලා අපිට ඒ service එක දෙනවා confirmation එක. ඒක තමයි change එක. හැබැයි still අපිට independent confirmation එකේ concept එක වෙනස් වුන්නේ නැහැ. අන්න ඒක කරන විදිය වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවා. This is the difference that you want to understand. Information auditing has never changed ළමයි. Auditing has not changed, but the way we carry out the audit is much more efficient now. Much more advanced now. It is technology driven, technology oriented. Audits are changing. If someone is learning technology in auditing without learning the auditing standard, that you won't learn anything, right? In destination is not known. But that is where this I recommend you. Now is the time for you to learn the technology auditing, having learned the all fundamentals in auditing. So I hope that you got an idea. So if someone has not studied the technology-based auditing, I'm warning you. I'm giving you a strong message to you as of now. So you have 8 days, Lamai. Please have a look on that. At least basics of technology platforms, AI, data analytics, right? Even at the worst case like blockchain, that's not going to that level, but even that's up to that level even. We should have idea. All right. Okay. Right. So having said that, so now whenever you look at the information technology aspect of the auditing question, students, so be aware, it has to be seen in the both the aspect. That means one is company aspect, other one is auditor's aspect. Right. So basically, that's the idea. So now the examiner is asking the very first question is what? Assist all are silent. All are silent. No questions also. Don't know, all are sleeping. Right. So assess the method for gathering audit evidence. Evaluating kata amatak karan lama. Assess the method for gathering audit evidence. What are the methods? That of course you know, right? What are the methods? Inspection. Can you remember? Inspection, observation, inquiry, analytical review procedures, re-performance, recalculation. Can you remember this thing? Method for gathering audit evidence? Inspection, observation, recalculation, ARP. So that's the answer. But you have to connect into the scenario given. When you are looking at the inspection, that you can inspect of all these digital records and all that, And when it coming into the observation, you can look at this inventory, physical count of the stock into this one. Observation can be done. With example, you have to write it. And maybe recalculation, kind of maybe certain things you can recalculate as per the given information. Reperformance like walkthrough test you can do, like okay, manual override and all that you can observe. Digital records you can observe. So some of the examples are required for that's of course easy for you, right? This one. This is the method for gathering audit evidence that you and me aware. All right. What is the method of gathering evidence? It's very simple, right? මේක ලියා ගන්න බැරි නම් ඉතින් ප්‍රශ්නයක්, right? Okay. What does inspection, observation, inquiry and confirmation, recalculation, performance and the analytical procedures in even beyond that, you can take a review in the ERP records, contract, invoices, reconciliation, digital documents, example. Observation, watching inventory count, control activities from the scenario, give the example. No? And the inquiry and confirmation, seeking explanation from management and obtaining third-party confirmation, recalculation, checking arithmetical accuracy of ERP output, analytical procedures, comparing ratios and all that can be there. Now, did you notice, students, the examiner wanted two parts of the question. Assess method for gathering audit evidence, that of course okay. Right? Assess the method for, we'll delete this one. I also had the questions when they disappeared. Yes, now you read the question. Assess the method for evaluating edit evidence for testing, control and the performing substantive procedure. Actually, yesterday night when I also read this, I had a little doubt what the examiner wanted from here. Method for gathering, anyone knows, but evaluating audit evidence, so I get double check with the examiner before the session today what exactly he wants. But therefore that question has a little bit of a clarity ළමයි. මේ question එක හරියටම මේක ඊට වඩා හොඳට ලියන්න ඕනේ. මේක පැහැදිලි නෑ. සමහරවල් පැහැදිලි නෑ මේක. Of course, students will have identify, assess the method for gathering. That's understood. That anyone should be able to write it. Gathering and evaluating audit evidence for testing, control and substantive will get it confused. So therefore, I'm not expecting that you would have written the part B of the answer. But I told to the paper setter as well, this will not be identified by the student. But so therefore, question should have been developed. But final paper, this won't happen. My final paper is like this is like as to help the students. Sri Lanka has done in a quick manner and all this. But the final paper is not like that. Now that has been checked by several members and it's coming in a perfect manner, right? Perfect manner. And also, students, you know that there is something called I can't remember exact word. That paper now normally set for you all that somebody write for 3 hours keeping in the they put for somebody to write that paper. Whether you can write. So therefore that type of rigorous testing is taking place for the final paper and before come. So therefore that kind of a thing should not be there. So but here the question is now assess method for evaluating audit evidence, testing of control and substantive procedures. Exam is asking evaluating methods. So that of course, if you look at in that way, evaluating method for test of control, you carry out the test of control and you see whether the control reliance can be made or not, right? If the control reliance cannot be made, you go for a substantive procedures. And looking at the substantive procedures, you carry out the substantive procedures in detailed testing to gather sufficient and audit evidences, and accordingly you decide the material misstatements or not. So that is the answer for this one, but this question has an issue. But what I want to tell you that you take this point that the assessed method for gathering audit evidence, that's the answer is expected. Evaluating mean how evaluation is taking place for the test of control and the performing substantive procedures. Question is not very clear to you to answer this one. But if someone has written this one, so much advanced, what it says is evaluating evidences, testing of control, assessing whether controls are operating effectively. If controls are reliable, reliance can reduce the substantive testing. If innocent staff, frequent overrides and the delayed reconciliation weaken the control reliance. Substantive procedures, direct testing and transaction, the balances, analytical procedures to identify the unusual trend and provide strong assurance than when the controls are weak. So therefore, examiner's expectation, students, here is just for you to identify the gathering methods and also how the audit evidence evaluating of audit evidence taking place. test of control and the substantive procedures and audit evidence evaluation test of control, we look at the controls. Substantive procedures, you go for detailed testing. That is what the examiner's expectation, but the question has an issue. Right. Second one, outline the impact of the digital transformation. Outline the impact of digital transformation on substantive procedures. Digital transformation on substantive procedures, including the use of audit software and the remote auditing. 10 mark. So now that is open-minded question. Digital transformation impact. The make and I think are a samastak with around the knowledge and hitaliandu. When you look at the digital transformation, what kind of impact is there? Are lazy no? What the lazy look the digital transformation again mogadune sample balaguapi, see it see a balo there. So we are verifying 100%, not the sample. Verification of 100%, not the sample. And also manual evidence balaguapi than digital evidence balno. The manual evidences that we saw are looking at the digital evidences, right? That's the main transformation. And if you look at the audit software, what happened? We do a lot of anomaly identification, general entry testing, fraud detection, continuous auditing, all are done. Remote auditing. So we look at a lot of transformation. We look at the video cameras to gather the evidence, electronic evidences, emails, and the data platforms, data sharing platforms. All those have taken place now. All those what has happened? All those have now, right? All those now ensure the efficient audit process for the auditors. Now, as far as the examination is concerned, right? Now, what examiner wanted from here is outline, not going to write in detail. Impact of digital transformation of substantive procedures. Now, impact is many, full testing, digital evidences, and anomaly detection, and continuous auditing, 100% verification, right? Maybe sometime looking at the different technology-based instrument in sharing the data, right? Remote auditing like that, those kind of a thing. That kind of actual students, what the examiners wanted here. Whatever the theory or what you listen in the class or whatever the theories that you learn, in your study text in terms of the technology auditing, bringing that all the points into the question. That's all. Open question. It's right. It's clear that you can't write it. So therefore you have to learn it. The study text is there here. So in the study text, if you go, I'll tell you the places we have to look at it. So it's very crucial for you to see that. So this information technologies is there, basically coming under the here. Data analytics in audit planning is from page number 210 to 221. And then the use of data and digital tools in audit execution, right? It is under the page number 309 to 315. Then the digital tools integration in assurance. This is like digital tool data verification and the assurance enhancement. So these are the three places where the technology is there, so that you have to see for if you want to see the answer. Right. As far as the examination is concerned, the impact of the substantive procedures given, this see whether those answers are there with you. Shift from the sample into the full population testing, 100% testing. Greater reliance on the electronic evidences and need for alternative evidence, like example he has given. And use of audit software. Maybe automated reconciliation can be done, anomaly detection, continuous auditing, and also the remote auditing, SQL portals. Like there should be a portal to share the data, video observation, electronic confirmation, and likewise. So what the examiner wanted for you to write something on impact of the digital transformation. When you talk about the impact of the digital transformation, you can write many. But if you have provided, you have learned that. So therefore, whatever if you answer, all these are there, like let's say all these data analytics and the anomaly detection, continuous auditing, videos, all these, if you are there, some may are there, I mean, your answer is correct. Okay, right. Next one, explain the integration of digital tools. Integration of digital tools in assurance process, including the AI for data valuation. Now, explain the integration of digital tools in assurance processes, including AI for data validation. It is this one. Digital tool for data validation and assurance engagement. Blockchain application is not tested in this paper. AI application for data valuation. This is what it is tested. Digital assurance platform development not tested. Technology limited. Actually, students, this is the part it was tested. Right. And the previous question, what it was tested? Use of the AI and the data analytics in the testing procedure. Right. So explain the integration of digital tools in assurance process, including the AI for data validation. What is that, students? If you look at the digital tools, you have AI, you have blockchain, you have cloud dashboard. Like us, we learn many. I know that you should study this one, otherwise you will get mad this one. But I don't think the exam will go for 25 marks question from here. But my prediction is 6 marks will come. From information technology auditing, 6 marks will come. Somebody can think, no, not required that 6 marks because 94 marks I have. Out of that, I need only 50, not 100. That you can think. But if you add like that mean, or if you add that 6 marks, 6 marks, 6 marks for 3, 4 areas, then you have to examine the next time also. That don't need to come into that level. So somehow study this technology area without giving up. Right. So how these digital tools and assurance process, including AI, data validation, මේ digital tools අපි digital tools දාන්නේ ළමයි ඔඩිට් එක පටන් ගන්න ස්ටේජ් එකේදී අපිට පුළුවන් අපේ outcome එකේ quality එක වැඩි කරන්න. දැන් උදාහරණයක් AI පාවිච්චි කරොත් අපිට පුළුවන් අපිට ගොඩක් ඔය analytics අර එක එක විදිහේ patterns identify කරන්න පුළුවන්. anomalies, fraud වගේ දේවල්, compliance වගේ දේවල්, risk වගේ දේවල්, ඒ වගේ දේවල් identify කරන්න. ඔය කියන digital tools වලින් AI වලින්. අපි blockchain එකක් use කරොත් එහෙනම් blockchain එකකින් පුළුවන් ළමයි ඒක source එක. ඒ කියන්නේ transaction එක blockchain එකේ තියෙනවා edit කරන්න බෑ කවදාවත්. The blockchain it's like uneditable. You call immutable කියලා අපි කියන technical word එක මේක study text එකේ තියෙනවා immutable කියලා. It's a latest auditing. Immutable. So blockchain වගේ එකක තියෙන immutability එක. Right? This is a digital tool where the auditor can use that source is confirmed, that's never changed. Alright? It's never changed. So it cannot be edited. Logs cannot be deleted. There is something called student smart contract කියලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මොනවාද the smart contract එකදී audit procedures මොනවාද කරන්නේ study text එකේ තියෙනවා මෙහෙම. Smart contract. But those I don't think in the very first exam it will be tested. These are first exam. The new curriculum that will test later but can't take a chance. Right, so the smart contract and then the distributed consensus, likewise there are a few principles that you need to be aware. All these are coming under the digital tools. The digital tools, what they do is basically doing a lot of things for us. Pattern identification, predictive analytics, so it can be automatic identification. There are several things can be done. That is there in the theoretical. This is not a practical. It's a theory. Not practical in the sense those are not there in Sri Lanka. Even in Sri Lanka, is not audit firms are not yet. They are using audit software. These two are there in audit firm. Tam audit firm audit software is using remote auditing is also there. But still the AI has not properly come in. Right? Blockchain has not properly come in. So those are going to come to the Sri Lanka. Right? But those are you have to learn. Right. Digital tools like, for example, data analytics platform, blockchain verification, cloud dashboard, these are digital tools. And AI data for validation, pattern recognition, automated machine, predictive analytics, continuous auditing, all these are there. Digital tools enhance the efficiency, coverage, and reliability of assurance processes. However, auditors must apply professional skepticism, validate AI output, and ensure compliance with ethical standards, specifically when AI misclassified the legitimate transaction are seen as Ocean Vistas case, right? I know from this is not easy question, so you are not familiar since you are not studied this area properly. So I'm asking from you the next 8 days time, please have a look on that. And if you have any questions from with regard to this digital auditing, now you can ask from me, or even later you can ask from me. So I'm available in all these platforms. So wherever you want to contact me, you can contact me and ask from me. Even at social media, so you can contact me, and wherever you ask me, I'll answer. But if you have any question, you can ask me now, because I'm into these particular areas in practice. So I know that audit software is how it is working, AI is how it is working. It is in my day-to-day activities. Right. Any questions, students? What are the questions you have? Without knowing the SLFR SL case, passing the exam is not no. You don't want that. Don't think like that. This is not accounting standard paper. If you can remember the A-level accounting standard knowledge, that is enough. Inventory cost or NRV, whichever is lower. පිරිවැස අශුද්ධ වර්ග රාගය අතර දෙක තියෙන වෙනස. That is enough for you to auditing paper. You don't have to have a very complicated accounting standard knowledge. That is for 3.1. If you are, let's you come to the 3.1, we'll see. 3.1 level, you need to have the accounting knowledge. But here is not required. Corporate level. Don't worry about that now. Uta, you can so you can this thing can be done. It's counting. Don't worry. Now don't think, I'm telling you in a very serious manner. This particular exam of this time, right? This is the answer for part C. So this time, exam is not going to be tough in my prediction, right? I'm not the examiner. I'm not representing CA Sri Lanka. I'm also a resource person here. But my prediction, by having go through the entire syllabus, having gone through all the past papers, having lectures for many years, and having worked as audit partner for last 9 years, I can predict exactly what's going to happen in the next exam, this exam. But I cannot predict the next time. But this exam, I believe that it's not going to be tough. It will be pilot paper plus 10%. So therefore, you can pass this exam. Don't get discouraged. Don't think negative. Think positive. Now, I have told you today's discussion, this 4 hours or 4.5 hours discussion sometimes this discussion will be the reason for you to pass the exam, because this is discussing important area. Now, I have gone through the entire syllabus now. So I know where it is happening and how I'm connected to the practical world. So this 4 hours will tell you how to pass the exam sometime. So therefore, don't negatively think, don't underestimate yourself, and challenge is not that challenging. These 8 days, you just focus on the sustainability, digital auditing, all that, or additional areas, will pass the exam. Right, do we need to auditing? No, not required. Auditing standards are not required to be required. Those are like, you see, anywhere you do see that, not required. Don't try to be perfect. All right, don't try to be perfect. There is no perfectness. You can't do auditing that is where the auditing subject, there are priciness and all less, because auditing you can pass, but can't we get 80 marks? It's not possible. Even corporate level, we did not have anyone got 80 marks. One time, no, not even 80. No one got 80. 79 was the highest in 2021. Even priciness who got 70, 71, 72 only. Because it's not exactly right. It's a problem. But you can pass. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's go into the next session, right? 10 o'clock. Price winning marks is the 70 marks for the first attempt. Right. So, okay, let's go into the next question, students. So that is basically from a good question. That's a core traditional auditing question. That's not difficult. Sampradayika Vigarani. Right. What the examiner is asking. Based on the above fact, assess the specific areas contributing risk of material misstatements in the finance statement of Lanka Agrotech PLC for 10 marks. So it's asking the based on the above fact, assess the specific areas contributing to risk of material misstatement. That of course you can do, right? Risk of material misstatement. You can organize in a way that you want, whatever the method, but 10 marks is there. As the auditor design substantive audit procedures, you would perform on inventory, write-off use asset, journal entry, and different 3 things are given. Very easy question. Considering the misstatement related to revenue, outline the appropriate type of audit opinion on the auditor shall issue on the finance statement of this company. 5 marks. It's a very traditional question. Okay. What examiner is asking is the Lanka Agrotech PLC is a listed Sri Lankan company engage in tea exports, rubber-based products, and packaged food manufacturing is undergoing its statutory audit for the year ended 31st March 2026. Nature of the business is important. So tea exports, rubber-based products, and packaged food manufacturing. Cold storage facilities for the principal export and diversified. They are diversified. Retail outlets in Colombo, Kandy under long-term lease agreements. Digital trading platform of overseas buyers. Students, it's very crucial when you are reading a large case scenario. So you live with the question, you get absorbed into the question. Right? You have to get absorbed into the questions. But live with the question for the next half an hour when you are looking at this one question. During the audit, the following matters were noted. Inventory. Inventory is spread across multiple warehouses, including the rural areas where the record keeping is manual. A flood incident damage stock of rupees 40 million insurance claims are pending. ERP integration is incomplete and leading to mismatch between the physical stocks and the stock count. Obsolete packaging materials valued at 20 million. Then making risk of material statement, inventory is in trouble. Right? We okkama prashna inventory ki. Okkama liyanna risk. Inventory is one of the risk, and with this for reason. That if you see the 40 million is here, 60 million is that itself material. Then ROU asset. Long-term leases for the retail outlets include escalation clauses. ROU was there at the pilot paper as well, right? So it's important to be alert that there would be kind of a examination question coming in the final paper as well. A long-term leases for the retail outlets include the escalation clauses linked to the inflation, but management exclude that. So then this is wrong. All facilities are leased, but certain agreements were classified as service contract. Incompletion of recognition of ROU assets, discount rate applied differ from the across division without documented rationale. So this is 80 million. Again, the second risk. Number one is inventory. Number 2 is, and all 3 reasons are reasons. Right. Journal entry. Journal entry at the finance statement level. Several year-end entries reclassified marketing expense as intangible asset. And large round figures entries were passed to the boost export revenue. Round figures there. 10 million, 20 million, right? You pass the interest like that to what? For what? It is basically to overstate the revenue. And warranty provision for the package would be reversed without actual reassessment. Warranty provision reverse करने आइला माहिती. Profit तक वाली करा. Some entries are lacked stamping vouchers. Another information: the company is under pressure to meet the debt governance to export earnings revenue. Revenue is subject to fraud risk. Overseas buyers have raised complaints about the delayed shipments, suggesting possible revenue cutoff. Whistleblowers' complaint was received and alleging manipulation of lease accounting and revenue recognition. Material level is 100 million, PM is 65 million, and we have a specific materiality for the lower threshold for the sensitive areas such as inventory, lease, and the journal entries. Management has recognized 120 million of revenue from the advance payments and received from the overseas buyers, even though shipments have not been dispatched. So this treatment is inconsistent with SLFRS 15. Importantly, management has stated that do not intend to correct this misstatement. A team member suggested required and requires issuance of an adverse opinion on the finance statement. Right, so very easy, not a difficult. Traditional auditing, co-auditing, goal. Basic question. And if you don't know this one, if you don't know the risk assessment, if you don't know the audit evidence, if you don't know the reporting, it's a very basic quality. Right. Right, risk. How many risks are there? Basically, we have 4 risks. One is inventory, second one ROU, third one journal entry, fourth one revenue. And basically, inventory, when you are writing, you tell all 5 reasons, all 3 reasons, all 4 reasons, and all 2 reasons. 3 reasons. Very simple. Right? That exactly question is reproducing as an answer. I don't think this will be easy like this, like in the final paper. But trust never reproduce currently. It's right. Then that's the answer for the part A. It's not a difficult one. Huh? This is a very straightforward. See, question number 7. Inventory. Giving the 3 reasons with the material level. Right opposite, giving the 4 reasons. But we are linking to the materiality always. And the journal entry. Give the 4 reasons. And next one, revenue. Giving the 2 reasons. It's a rebuttable presumption that this area is a significant risk as there's a likelihood of risk of material misstatement. Even from the facts provided in the scenario, it appears there is a possible misstatement in revenue. Given the management disagreement, this could lead to a misstatement in the finance statement. Right. Next one is audit procedures. Audit procedures. Inventory. The maker audit again. Three research audit procedures to be assigned. Inventory verification, valuation, and NRV adjustment. Live class again. Physical verification. What the procedure? Physically observe, go and physically observe, look at the instruction, do a test count. Any answer is correct. And get the count and shoot, match with the records and identify the difference. All verification. Valuation, you get the detailed sample, do a calculation, recalculation of costing, look at the source document. NRV, get the subsequent selling price of the invoices and see whether. Okay. Yes. Lease recognition, lease liability measurement, disclosure. Lease recognition, get the lease contract and see whether actually all the leases have been considered. Liability remeasurement, recalculate the liability. Disclosure, check whether the disclosures have been made. Audit evidence are in your system. You don't have to worry too much. Not memorization, just thinking and writing if you have the co-editing idea. Then the testing unusual entries. Of course, you know, right? You do the ADA, audit data analytics, and you look at the entries passed in the non-business hours, entries passed in the weekends, entries passed in the morning hours. If you look at the NDB case, so that kind of a thing has happened. Authorization and journal entry, who has approved this journal voucher, supporting documentation, look at the journal vouchers. Very simple. This, of course, you don't have to memorize, or you don't have to look at. You can just write something from looking at the audit procedures. තරම් ලේසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආයේ නෑ ළමයි. මොකද දන්නවද? කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක්ට audit procedures කියන එක ඇඟට ගිහින් තියෙනවා. Right? We have learned audit procedures in a code. This is where I believe in auditing students. You have to have a clear flow. Systematic learning in auditing are very important. You will never go wrong. Systematic learning in the co-auditing flow. That has to have a good idea. Right? Then you won't go wrong. Then when you follow the auditing in a systematic order of the 37 auditing standard flow, automatically it goes into your mind, okay, looking at this account balance, what should have been done? That's the method rather you memorizing audit procedures. Okay, right. So therefore, this is not a difficult area unless you have a General knowledge. Right, inventories you can do like so. This see physical application, attend the year and stock count at selected warehouse, perform test count, reconciliation discrepancies, all these valuation, verify the application of weighted average method, check consistency across locations, NRV, review the aging analysis, identify the obsolete packing, and compare the cost versus NRV, ROU lease recognition, examine the lease agreement for retail outlets, liability measurement, recalculate, disclosure, verify completeness. Journal entry, unusual entries, use data analytics to identify large round figure entries already there in the case. Authorization, trace the journal entries to confirm the authorized login, supporting documentation as it is there. Right? It's difficult. That's the question. Why, when identifying the material misstatement, why not consider the material already considered, right? Because it's considered as all together. If you look at the answer students given here, it's there. But all together now, inventory means there are 4-5 issues. All together you have to consider. Right, part C is asking a very easy question. Considering the misstatement relating to revenue, outline the appropriate audit opinion. That of course easy, right? Right. What is the issue? Students, 120 million is the issue. Management has recognized 120 million revenue from advance payment received. So 120 million is a misstatement, right? And importantly, management has not stated that they do not intend to correct. So that means our material level is what? It is 100 million. There is a 120 million misstatement, students. Right. There's a 120 million misstatements. 100 million is the material level. It is above the material level, then it is a material misstatement. Now we have to see whether the issue is pervasive or not. Lamai, is this pervasive? Whether this misstatement is pervasive or not. Give an answer without sleeping. We should not sleep. I am now continuously talking for 3 hours plus 15 minutes now, right? So that is that pervasive or not? Just give an answer, yes or no. That's all. Not pervasive, Lamai. But the pervasive. If you go and see, if you go to the Gulf face and see, look at the sea, how large the sea. You can't see the extent of the sea. You can't see. That's large. Huge impact. But just because of above the material level of 100 million, another 20 million, just imagine the turnover of this company. 100 million is 1% of the turnover. So that means 10,000 million turnover company. There is an error of 120 million. Can this be a material? Yes. Can this be a pervasive? No. If you want to become a pervasive, you need to have 3 criteria as you learn. It should not be confined to one, but confined to many. And it impacts one, but that is substantial portion. Third one, something fundamental. Goal pace that kind of a meaning of the pervasive. How that you say pervasive this one? We don't have any information to say pervasive. I have told in a previous my webinars and all those. So basically you need to see pervasiveness is a very extreme circumstances. Very extreme circumstances. Right? It's kind of a worst case. So therefore, this can't be pervasive. Okay, right. Answer. Voice also has gone, I think, these days, continuous lectures. Right. Audit opinion. So overall materiality is 100 million, misstatement in revenue recognition 120 million, which exceeds the 20 million. Right. Examiner is giving a qualified opinion. Why? At this stage, it seems qualified opinion in the context of the misstatement explained in the scenario as no other information available to confirm its pervasive. Whereas, therefore, qualifying opinion should be expressed. Right, this is elaborating the pervasiveness, justifying that as not pervasive. It is important to understand the pervasiveness of this matter. If this significantly affect the margins, if current profit is earned, it turned to a loss, it could be pervasive and it affect the user's decision making, undermine the reliability of financial information to the users. Even a misstatement in a single transaction is pervasive, specifically in represent the substantial portion of the balance sheet. However, to make this assessment, further information are required. Right. Okay, students. So we are coming to the last question. Right. Do you have any questions so far? Rashadin? That's a question. What would be the opinion if the misstatement is above PM and not below the OM? No opinion impact. Opinion will get impact in theoretically when something goes beyond the OM. Some are asking for the answer C. You can, but this will be shared by CA very shortly. Mr. Aruna, Deputy Manager Education, is in this meeting, I think. So he will share that. This answer is answer C. And if you want to get a screenshot of answer A, it's very straightforward. Nothing to get screenshot. That no need that no time to look at students now. 7 days ahead for the exam. This is not a difficult question, but this is difficult question. Digital tools. B also required. Okay. To satisfy you all, we will show the answer. This is answer A. Hope that you got the screenshot. Right. This is answer C. B, right? It should be B. Right. Any questions further? Any questions? Pervasiveness. Now somebody is asking why can't it issue adverse opinion? In order to adverse opinion, it has to be pervasive. It's not pervasive. But in order to be pervasive, this how do you say pervasive this one? Just tell me. Because you 100 million turnover, 100 million material company, you have issue of 120 million. One issue. How many things are there in this company to be pervasive? Right? Say, if you look at the question paper, you have many, it's a multinational company, right? Having many businesses. One turnover issue. It's only one issue. If you feel it's a bit is for adverse mean, I have a problem. Pervasiveness is a very extreme circumstances, right? And someone has told a team member suggests this require assurance of adverse opinion. Team members can request because team members are like some of you. So that you are the professional judgment is required for that. Even if you put this question to ChatGPT, ChatGPT will say this adverse opinion. This is where the ChatGPT cannot replace. Huh? You put this question to ChatGPT and see. Sometimes the ChatGPT may tell this is adverse opinion sometimes. It's a judgment, right? You need to understand that the real behind. So without knowing the full details of the case scenario, you can't say adverse. Only this issue we have. Right, coming into the last question. It's not a difficult question. There's another question is asking, I have a question. If there's a pervasive not, it could always connect into the going concern. No. Perverseness has three things, students. Number one, it impacts the many line item of the financial statement. Right? That is one condition. The second one, it impacts the one item, but that item is a very substantial in the accounts. For example, 80% of the balance sheet represent that item, so that's then perversive. Third one, it is something fundamental like going concern. So this all three conditions are there. I mean, it is something perversive, but it's the worst case. So in my life, I have signed maybe more than 1,000 audit report, more than that. I think 5,000 audit report for my life so far. Adverse opinion given one or two example only in my life. All right, so it's very rare opportunity coming in. But adverse, even not adverse, normally we give a disclaimer, but that also very rare. Right, so coming into the last question, the basically last 25 mark question. So critically evaluate action verb for a 10 marks. Critically evaluate the overall auditing strategy. This is a very common and the hot topic in the auditing papers now. Overall auditing strategy developed by the company's auditors to respond to the risk of material misstatement. Company's auditor to respond to the risk of material misstatement. Critically evaluate the overall audit strategy developed by the company auditors to respond to the risk of material misstatement. Overall auditing strategy document we generally prepare to address the decide what lamai. Overall auditing strategy document එකෙන් decide කරන්නේ මොනවද? කාරණා තුනක් තියෙනවා. මොනවද? Overall auditing strategy decide three things in audit of the finance statement. What those? දැන් මේ කිව්වලත් මම පන්ති නම මේක නවත්තනවා live class එක. Very basic. Fundamentals. Nature, time and extent is not overall audit strategy. That is audit procedures. Nature, time and extent coming for what? It's audit procedures. Not the overall auditing strategy mean bigger plan, master plan. Scope, time and direction. Yes, a very important one. It is the scope, time and direction. This gives the broader picture. In auditing, this gives a broader picture how auditing strategy should go. Out of that, how scope of the audit, time of the audit, direction of the audit should work out. It's not based on this only, students, what we prepare. Based on this only, we prepare the detailed audit plan. Right? Based on this only, you prepare what? Based on this only, what we prepared. Please, yes. Based on this only, we prepare the audit program. Right? This is a kind of a larger scale, strategy-based, governance-based auditing. Nature, timing, scope, timing, and direction. Right? This is discussed where students discuss in the 300 standard. In your study text and all, these certain things are not there. Now, for example, student, this study text. Actually, this study text, in my view, study text is very good for these other areas. Like study text is very good for the part A. Part A will study text right? Then part B study text has a problem. Right? Then part C also study text has a problem. Part D also study text has a problem. But part E, right? Part E, the risk management, and the part F, interauditing is interauditing. This is very superb. So that means what I would say, students, basically in your syllabus, risk management, internal audit, regulatory compliance, ethics, and the corporate governance. These areas contain 10%, 10%, 15%, right? So that means this 35%, the study takes superb. But audit plan in 25%, audit evidence 25%, and audit reporting 15%. This 65%, right? 20% and the 20%, I can't remember exactly, but 65%. Study text has a problem. But this talking about the floor of auditing, where you need to have detailed knowledge. This is specific knowledge where on specific areas. Right, so basically, this is the critical evaluation or strategy and outline key cybersecurity risk. Outline key cybersecurity risk and the corresponding audit measure. This is another hot topic nowadays. Cybersecurity, internal auditing, risk management, cybersecurity risk, sustainability auditing, technology auditing. These are highly predicted areas for the exam. Outline instances where the disclaimer of opinion would be issued. That's very easy. Right, if you go for the question now, we'll read the question quickly. Question number 8. La Vista Beverage and the Plantation PLC. La Vista Beverage and the Plantation PLC are a listed Sri Lankan company engaged in the tea plantation, bottled beverages, and the hotel catering services. Is undergoing its statutory audit for the 31st March 2026. Control environment. The company has a formal control environment framework, segregation of duties, approval hierarchies, IT access restrictions, and the periodic reconciliation. Audit reports highlight that controls are adequately designed but not consistently implemented. For example, plant tax and stock reconciliations are delayed, procurement approvals are sometimes bypassed under the urgent circumstances, IT access lot exists but are not fairly reviewed. The management insists control are strong and encourage the external auditor to rely on them. The auditing strategy, audit strategy is the examiners question. This is control environment of the company and the internal control. Audit strategy, the external auditor has developed an overall audit strategy that emphasizes the reliance on controls relating to the financial reporting. Okay. Substantive testing, including the test of details and the substantive analytical procedures, has been scaled back in several areas, including those flagged as significant risk. There are two significant risks identified. One is inventory valuation, other one is a property, plant, and equipment. Large volume of tea leaves and the beverage stock stored across multiple warehouses subject to spoilage and the price fluctuation. Capital expenditure on bottling machinery and the hotel kitchen equipment with impairment indicators due to decline in demand in catering. The audit is mainly resourced with 3 years experience manager and the 3 other juniors with 1 year experiences. Other information, a cyber incident disrupted hotel booking system for 2 weeks. Forensic review is incomplete. PP addition include the capitalization of feasibility study cost and staff training expenses. Our inventory valuation relies heavily on the management internal estimates of recoverable values with limited external corroboration. Management is under pressure to show strong results to secure new financing. And one of the junior members is unclear when should be the disclaimer of opinion is given. Now the first question is critically evaluate the overall auditing strategy developed by the company, right? Developed by the company auditors to respond to the risk management. Overall auditing strategy, basically we talk about 3 things. What is that? We are talking about the scope, timing, and direction. In our audit, these 3 are discussed on the strategy. And what are your challenges? What are your issues? What do you think as lacking in the strategy document prepared by the company is being requested? Lama, you would see now part A, 10 mark questions are okay, right? But 25 mark questions are not going to be, even pilot paper say. So therefore, co-auditing just idea must be there, right? If you don't have an idea of the co-auditing flow, I'm requesting you to watch one of the webinar that I have done for CA into somewhere back in the COVID time in 2021. Those YouTube videos are available. The co-auditing, like floor of auditing. But when you're watching the videos now, maybe 4 years gone. But I'm also changed now with that when I was in those videos. When I look at even I have changed now. But that still the knowledge remains same in 2021 to 2026, 4 years gone. But those theory remains same. So So therefore, if you want to have an idea about the coordinate inflow, refresh your mind of the coordinate inflow. It's much better for you to see those introductory videos where I'm giving a summary of the entire 37 auditing standard in a one mind map. It's important, right? But the part B of the question, so very crucial that. Right, so what's the issues? The external auditors has developed an overall auditing strategy that emphasizes the reliance on control related to the financial reporting. So overall, your direction, it is a reliance on control. TOC ways approached substantive testing, including the test of details and the substantive analytical procedure has been scaled back. Our direction, Lama, it has gone to the substantive procedures. No, it is more control reliance approach. That is what we learn as what combined approach in auditing. Significant risk have been identified. Two risk. An audit is mainly resourced with 3 experienced manager. There is a problem. Now there is a problem of direction, Lamai. There is a problem of the resources as well, right? There is a problem of resources that they don't have appropriate resources. That's going to be a problem. So one issue is the direction of audit, right? Other one is resources is one of the very crucial part under the overall auditing strategy. Another information is there, and also basically the cyber security risk also there, and also then there is a forensic review is incomplete, and all that is there. Right. So basically, the first question examiner is asking for 10 marks. Critically evaluate the overall auditing strategy. Critically evaluate the overall auditing strategy and the developed by the company auditor to respond to the risk assessment. So basically, 2 issues we have identified. And also, can you remember overall the strategy documents, what should be included and all? That's there in study text. I can't exactly remember, but the standard is there. What include scope, timing, and direction? This has to have an understanding of business, and then all these resource requirement, material level, risk assessment, right? And also the use of expert of the company audit and everything, Lamai, as a audit overall, what are we going to plan in a big picture level? I included under the overall auditing strategy. So therefore, this now, if you look at, if you want to critically evaluate, you have a direction problem. Yes, you have a resources problem, but you have already risk have been identified. That's also a part of the overall strategy. Risk assessment as risk have been identified in overall auditing strategy. And so therefore, if you look at it, resources problem is there, direction problem is there, but risk assessment, risk identification. So these 3 are there as far as the overall auditing strategy is concerned. But in overall view, right? Overall view is that the overall auditing strategy document, are you happy or not? Overall auditing strategy approach that they have taken to rely on the control rather look at the substantive procedures, are you happy or not? Is that correct or wrong? I don't want the explanation, you say yes or no. This auditor is more towards the reliance on control. Can you? Substantive නැතුව යන්න පුළුවන් තරමයි මේකේ. No, you can't. Why? Because there are a lot of problems here, right? See, lot of problems is there. Say cyber security problem and inventory valuation, heavily management, elaboration. Management is under pressure to show strong results, right? And you have problem. Already you have identified the control problem. So having this kind of control problem, can you rely on controls and without substantive? No, you can't. So therefore, we are not happy about the overall auditing strategy approach taken. Right, answer given by the examiners. What is that? So basically, overall auditing strategy, they have a good control environment, that is good, but audit strategy, auditor has adopted the control-based strategy. Substantive testing reduced even the significant risk areas. This contradict the SLA, US SLFRS guidance. And inventory valuation is there, PP capitalization is there, and all these risks have been identified, resourcing. Large complex audit staff with inexperienced juniors, limited supervision, undermine the resource allocation, does not match risk profile. Our assessment strategy is not considered to be appropriate. Reliance work, weak control, reduced substantive testing, and poor resourcing. Audit proper response should have been adopt the substantive approach for the significant risk and allocated experienced staff for the particular work. Now, this is kind of an overall question. Now, there are, if you look at these papers questions, some are very specific, some are very broad, some are very technical, right? So this is kind of a broader question for 10 marks. I don't think at the pilot paper at this level 10 mark questions you cannot write it. So but remember, even at the pilot paper there is a 25 mark question from the overall auditing strategy. Right, pilot paper, if I go the question number 6, question number 6, this is from what student? This is from the overall strategy, see. So therefore there is a possibility that the overall auditing strategy will be tested. Right, the second question coming in, outline the cybersecurity threat, cybersecurity risk, and corresponding measures, corresponding audit measures that you are going to do. What are the cybersecurity risk here? What kind of cybersecurity risk are there? Can you tell students one? Cybersecurity risk mean what? Cybersecurity risk we learn under the theory. It's like, let's say, what that? Cyber attack, right? Ransomware, malware, phishing, data leakage, right? Or any other kind of attacks coming into our computer system is called as cybersecurity risk. Okay. Can you remember? It's there in the theory. Now, what kind of cybersecurity risk are there in this business? Yes, cyber attack to the hotel booking system is already there. Okay, that, let's say that is correct. Then students, in order to okay, what else? Cybersecurity risk, hotel booking system is in trouble, right? So what it says is, it says cyber incident disrupted the hotel booking system for 2 weeks. Forensic review is incomplete. Now, cybersecurity risk is that already there is an incident reported. The forensic review was not done. That's a problem, risk. And IT access logs exist but are rarely reviewed. So cybersecurity risk. No one look at that. No one monitoring. Cybersecurity risk. Right, that's a kind of a cybersecurity risk, right? IT systems not reviewed. Right, so this, if you have written this, okay, now this kind of cyber, there are no many information with regard to this question on the file. This question also not 100% complete. There's a lacking part of the information. So students, if you see the final paper is concerned, that will come perfect questions. That, I mean, information lagging, information, that lacking of information will not be there. But this good question. So what kind of audit measures that you can take it? So audit measures is what can be done for a cyber security. Students, now if you have not studied, you have to study this one, cyber security risk. So they are in the syllabus. Right, so basically, if you go to the syllabus, cyber security risk are coming in the 2 areas of your syllabus, right? One is the cyber security risk coming in. This is the topic the examiners direct to test. Cyber security risk and audit measures. As it is there, right? So, but when you have a cyber security risk, what are you going to do? Can you do that? No, use that. You look at the information technology general control system of the company. We being auditors, we look at the ITGC, IT application control. look at the controls where the access controls are there. This is very straightforward. Study text are gave my pen and straightforward thing on I study text saying Kelly Maharathi. If you go to the page number 315, let me go and show you. What happened? Screen is not visible. 315. Okay. 312, 314, 315. Cyber security risk and audit measures. All right. What happened? Got stuck. Cyber security risk assessment and audit measures, cyber security risk identification, vulnerability assessment procedures, access control evaluation, cyber security audit integration. Right, this is not very clearly mentioned, but basically, if you really see the summary of here, what is trying to say is that the you have to see the IT environment of the company that you're auditing. So basically, that's an audit measure that you have to do, and also then you have to look at the expertise if at all required to be used, and thus maybe the substantive procedures you may have to carry out in detail, and sometimes third-party assurance will have to be obtained, and controls will have to look at maybe the control what is given here. For example, say access control and also the vulnerability assessment. All these will have to be seen. So likewise, students. So this kind of audit procedures are there to be done. So that's what the examiner has given here. The cybersecurity risk. See, cyber incident in the hotel booking system, weak monitoring and farewell, and incomplete forensic review. So this kind of answers are given. And audit measures, IT general controls. Substantive testing focus on the transaction during the cyber attack period. Data analytics can be done. Third-party assurance and the disclosure review. And you can look at that. See, the control review like access control, all those multi-factor authentication, those kind of things also can be reviewed by the auditor. These are kind of directly from the study text. Right. So we come to the last question. Last question. Got stuck. One minute, students. So I think got stuck my Excel sheet. Right. Last one. I have one important target areas to be tell. So therefore you yes. So basically, can you see the students? Can you see the screen? Right, students, can you hear me and can you see the screen, please? Right, I remove the I remove the study text. Study text got stuck. I think it's too many pages. Right, so the last one is asking I have some important Zoom is not responding. So okay, right, thanks. So basically, students, the last question outline the instances where the disclaimer of opinion would be issued. So disclaimer of opinion issued in a situation where scope limitation and it is material and purposive, right? That is one occasion. What is the other occasion? Can you remember? When there's a scope limitation, material and pervasive, you give a disclaimer of opinion. There's another occasion. Can you remember? What is that occasion? We learn going concern coming under the scope limitation, but there was another special circumstances. Yes, don't provide audit evidence only is coming in, but there's a one special occasion. Can you remember? What is that? Multiple uncertainties. When there are situations where the multiple uncertainties coming, students, there is a scope limitation is given. Disclaimer of opinion is given. Disagreement with the management, evidence not providing, scope limitation, all are same. Okay. So therefore, examiner also has given the same line with an example referring to the case scenario. And scope limitation by giving into this one, say, a scope limitation audit cannot obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence due to cyber security back data, record hotel booking. So that's a scope limitation, right? So there's a cyber attack and there's a hotel booking problem. And unresolved uncertainties, forensic review is incomplete, audit unable to conclude the completeness. It's an example. And conclusion, disclaimer issued when auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and the possible effect the both are material and pervasive. Right, so that's what they all discussion, students. So that's the action web and all. So my overall idea about the firm, this particular, let give you only another 10 minutes time. Exactly, I'll finish at 11 o'clock. Don't worry. As I promised 4 hours, I'll finish at 11 o'clock. So listen to this 10 minutes carefully. පැය 3යි විනාඩි 50ක් හිටපු අයට විනාඩි 10ක් ඉන්න බැරි කම නැහැ නේද පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න. Right. As far as the I'll answer all your questions, don't worry. So let me to conclude this the mock paper first. Now this mock paper we have finished for 4 hours, students. Now this mock paper is overall a good paper to discuss but there are some minor issues I told directly, openly, because then you know, because I can tell, okay, this I can discuss, but I had to tell the truth of some of the question, because then you are getting ready for the final paper. And you have another 7-8 days for the exam, more than that, for the examination. And especially ensure that, right? Especially ensure there's some of the areas that we have not touched: technology, sustainability, ESG metrics, or the cybersecurity audit. So these are like new areas in the syllabus. Please have a look on that, right? This mock paper has given you a very clear indication that those will be tested at the examination, right? And look at the pilot paper again, because the pilot paper, similar paper, there is a possibility of coming to the examination. Get ready for that one. Third one, students, remember this mock examination paper, you would have got 30 marks, 40 marks, 50 marks, 60 marks, 70 marks. Based on the mock paper number of marks, it will not decide what is your final paper marks, right? Okay, so therefore, it's really crucial for you to have a very confident mind with a focused mind toward the exam. And having seen the gravity of the pilot paper and look at those focused areas, not the selective learning, focus areas, and get ready for the exam. And by looking at the pilot paper, just try to plan like, okay, what kind of a coverage would be at the final paper, and please get ready accordingly, right? That is what I have to give you through these marks, based on the marks of the mock examination. And even if you get the 30 to 35 marks, and don't worry, final examination, you will pass it, because you got now some idea that what kind of paper would be coming in and what kind of areas that you want to look into, right? So, so that's what I want to tell you, students. So thank you for listening for me for 4 hours. I'll give you the time now to ask any question for any number of questions from any area of the syllabus. I'll answer. So that's one question I have not had. I'll answer. Don't go. I'll answer these questions. Also will be important. I have not had the opportunity to study all the syllabus topics in depth. Considering the limited time remaining before the examination, could you kindly recommend the key exam focused topics that I should prioritize in both theoretical study and the practice question to maximize my chance of successful passing in the exam? I told you, right? So basically, your syllabus has a 65% and a 35%. 35% is risk management, internal audit, regulatory compliance, ethics, governance, right? These 5 areas will definitely attract the marks of 40 at the exam. This 40 you need to focus through the, I would say, through the study text. Or if you have attended some classes, the classes would have been given some notes. That notes would be sufficient for that one. Right? That's the specific learning. If you can remember, you can write. If you can't remember, you can't write those questions. That's the area for that. The rest of the 65% is the co-auditing, where you need to have a thorough understanding, not the memorization. Basically, there you have the audit planning, our auditing strategy, audit evidence gathering, this thing, and the audit reporting, audit quality management, and assurance engagement. All right. So these are the areas that is there in the this thing. Out of that, no pointing studying the theory other than the quality management. Quality management, you study the theory, but others all practicing questions only. Pilot paper you have, the mock paper you have, and even the previous syllabus questions are good for a co-auditing. For example, audit planning, risk assessment, sampling, everything. Past papers are good. Past papers හොඳයි ළමයි. ඒ අර කෝඩිටින් එකට past papers හොඳයි. මම කියන්නේ CL1 ළමයිට CL3 වලට එනකොට තියෙනනේ fundamental change එකක් අර 135. 35%. Right. But that 65% remain large same. Little lower than the CL1. So therefore past papers are good to practice for those areas. So that's the approach you need to take it up. Okay. What else you have the questions? Any questions, ask, no problem. Question number 8, part B, answer please, cybersecurity. Okay, let me show. But remember the Mr. Aruna is in this discussion, so he will upload these documents, his answer script probably. Answer B, this is the cybersecurity answer, right? He will upload the document to the LMS. I don't know when he will do. Rajwan, so I hope that you enjoy the session for the day. And I also wanted to give you kind of a value addition for given the very first examination. I know that the very difficult for that one. So I genuinely tried myself to give some kind of an input before the examination. So I hope that it was useful to a certain extent, and get ready with that and do the examination well. Even during the next 8 days time or 10 days time, if you have any problem, you know about me mostly, any problem, so you can reach to me if you have way of reaching to me sometime, probably through the I'll drop my number in the chat box, right? So but don't disturb me, I mean unnecessarily, but I'm little busy. But if you have really good, really difficult concern, right, real difficult concerns, so if you have any career problem or anything, a very serious issue that I can help you in a technical matter, you can reach to me through WhatsApp. But don't just talk to you, just so many people are talking, then I can't do the work. But unless a really emergencies that you want to have a kind of support is needed, ready to support you on that ground, same as previous years. All the best and good luck, and do the examination well. Have a good night. Good night.